The Conquistabores, brought to you by ICAPRO. ICAPRO, for everybody that cares about their body. Welcome to the Conquistabores. This week we stay close to home as we head to London's Wembley Stadium for SummerSlam 1992. Making their way to the ring tonight on their Harley Davidson motorcycles, accompanied by Lennox Lewis, the excellence of execution, Cameron Phillips, the Heartbreak Kid, Ewan Taylor, from deepest darkest Gloucester, it's Phil Doyle, and Hot Sauce, Geordie Alan Milburn. Only tonight on The Conquistabores.
I left at 4 o'clock, you see.
Ah. Were you like walking out the door like, I'm going, Alan, because we've got a podcast recording to do later?
Yeah,
Like,
I said,
whatever.
I said, are you good to go for tonight? You went, yeah. I was like, right.
Oh,
okay.
dear.
And as I put in the text chat, he was expressing his concern. It's quite a big show. It's quite a pivotal show. And, you know, it's like, we need to keep concise tonight. We need to keep on topic, says Alan Milburn. 104, 21st of February 2025. There's some good research going on here.
Like the great Dementor said, do you have it in you to make it epic?
What?
There's a reference.
Yeah, I quoted the man. He's got a lot of flaws, but he knows about showmanship. Have you not seen Mad Max Furiosa?
No.
Oh, for God's sake.
I've only seen the first Mad Max movie all the way through. It's a bit rubbish. How long are we giving Alan?
Oh, for God's sake.
It's 20 past now.
We're giving him 5 minutes and we're starting.
Yeah, I'll give him 5 minutes.
Yeah, give him 5 minutes because he wants to do the dark matches, and I feel he's going to miss that.
There's like 3 in this show, I think. There's like 2 at the start, then there's like 1 before the main event.
Quote main event.
Sorry, co-main event.
They're never actually referred to at any point main event.
Cameron, you brought this up during the week, Cameron. Yeah, it's never actually mentioned in much at all.
Well, apart from the girl that goes, you know, Bulldog's going to win whether he wants to or not, that's your only mention of the actual main event of this show until right up before the main event of the show.
You know, that should have been the tagline for this show.
Because the most important thing is, where's Mr. Perfect going to stand?
Oh, God, yeah, that's it. That's the most important thing, actually.
Okay, I've got a kind of non-specific thought about the SummerSlam we're going to be talking about. Should we do an introduction at this point? I don't even know anymore. You picked this. No, Cameron picked this, didn't he?
Al will appear randomly and he'll just like pop in mid-sentence and just say something.
I'll try and jump around and edit somehow best I can.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in the hot sauce.
No, he didn't appear. Right? Because
he didn't appear.
I think we kind of I think the high watermark of like the American pro wrestling Hulkamania boom is like between WrestleMania 3 and 4, because that Saturday night's main event around that time was like 30 odd million viewers.
Yeah, it was absolutely massive.
Yeah, that's when like America peaked. But this feels like this is when the UK peaked. If that makes sense. Like,
yeah, it makes sense. I mean,
okay,
because I feel like rather than kind of WrestleMania 3 time, like I don't remember it being like in the culture as much as it was at this point. Because I'm sure by now you've got like Macho Man showing up on like Going Live and stuff, and Hacksaw's showing up on Games Master and stuff. Like it's much more in the UK consciousness.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
So I think it feels like even though you haven't got Hulk Hogan kind of knocking about too much, like it feels like this is where it kind of got like, you know, the peak of it in, and then it all kind of on both it's kind of dipping down towards, you know, the steroid trial kind of period.
Yeah,
and everything after that. But it definitely feels like, because normally this, you know, pre-internet time, we're about a year or so behind America on most things, aren't we? Like we've probably only just got The Simpsons by this point. maybe 91 when The Simpsons kind of landed in the UK.
Yeah, I was going to say Sky
America,
Telly, Sky One, 91 for The Simpsons.
Yeah. It definitely feels like, like you're seeing, like I say, there's all video games around. It's all stuff in the kind of they're popping up on regular TV stuff. It feels like this is like the big kind of peak of the WWF UK boom of the late 80s, early 90s, and then it all kind of tails down a bit to the Attitude Era.
I'm just trying to find out when was the first European Rampage tour? Because I think this is around this time as well.
I think there's been like stuff building up to this, definitely.
So would that be the kind of start of the sort of boom then, or the start of the build up?
Well, the glorious Samovar Royal Samovar Trophy battle would have been before this, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would have been.
Lead up to the thing, wasn't it? So it definitely feels like, because I remember obviously seeing I definitely would have watched WrestleMania 8 because that was about the magazine was in the shops, so I definitely remember reading about this period a lot. Because like I don't remember, it's difficult kind of going back to when I was 9 years old or whatever, but I definitely don't remember seeing it as much around WrestleMania 3-4 kind of time, because Sky was quite hyped off onto it. So there was much less of a much less of a thing at that time.
Yeah,
and I think it took a few years for Sky to get more of a bedding in the country, to get into more houses, and that kind of brought the WWF along with it up to a certain degree.
Yeah, I think so as well.
It was always kind of one of the selling points of Sky TV, wasn't it? Though one of the selling points was the fact you could watch the WWF.
Absolutely, and I've got playlists of compilation of like UK centric like advertisements from Sky, and definitely it was one of their tentpole things of, if you get Sky, you can watch the WWF live and not weeks and months and years possibly behind it. You have access to
especially since
all the shows.
Still just about pre Premier League. When did that start? Was it 92, 93?
Premier League
92, 93, I think it was.
So it would have been fun to have this with the Premier League side. I think that obviously then just swamped everything else, didn't it? That became the reason why you bought Sky at that point.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Because you were watching football.
You were watching the epic Super Sunday intro.
Sky Sports proudly presents FA Premier League football. A whole new ball game. Ford Super Sunday. Exclusively live from the City Ground. Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool. In association with Foster's. Yes, we're alive and kicking with the hot shots of Nottingham Forest. Taking on mighty Liverpool. It's Clough against Souness in the Battle of the Giants. Ford Super Sunday.
It just felt interesting, like, you kind of like see this kind of peak, and it's like all the kind of things that were there from the peak are like, a lot of things are still there, like, Matchman's still there, and the DiBiase and those sorts of guys, but Hogan's pretty much not gone, but he's like off on his filming break at the moment or whatever he was doing.
Well, yeah, but he's off trying to break Hollywood where they won't do steroid tests. And then,
yeah.
What are you saying, Cameron? Come on.
Well, pulling like an 80,000 stadium without Hogan on the card.
Yeah, because like 94, 95 are not known as great years for wrestling. 95 especially in American pro wrestling anyway. So you're kind of on a downturn from this point onwards.
Yeah. I think I'd probably say the downturn in America has already started.
Oh yeah, well that's the whole reason why the SummerSlam was in Wembley. It was originally going to be Washington, wasn't it? And then they just didn't.
Isn't this about the time where the WWF has their ill-fated turn with playing with tensions in the East? And the whole like Sergeant Slaughter turning to the Sheiking Co.
Yeah, I think that probably turned the American audience a little bit. Yeah. And you kind of go from WrestleMania 3, which was in that kind of big stadium, and it kind of just felt like the 7 was in quite a small building, wasn't it? I know 8 was in a big stadium show, but 7, I remember, was in quite a small stadium. I think
well, 7 got moved, didn't it? Because it was going to be
because of the whole thing with Slaughter.
They'll claim it's like bomb threats, blah blah blah.
Oh,
blah, but it was actually because they hadn't really sold as many tickets as they generally thought they would.
Yeah.
It was the LA Memorial Sports Arena, but it was meant to be the LA Coliseum. Then it got moved for the bomb threat. That's what it was.
Yeah, bomb threat, inverted commas.
Yeah, so WrestleMania 7's got the attendance for that is 16,000 people.
Yep.
Which I think there's like episodes on Monday Night Raw get that now.
Yeah. Then the next WrestleMania is back up to like 62 when it's in the Hoosier Dome.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is the show after. Yeah, this is like the kind of next show along. So, it's 2 stadium shows. Yeah. I know for now, like stadium shows are kind of part of the course, almost for the company.
Oh yeah.
But 2 back-to-back stadium shows in the 90s is still pretty impressive, putting in that many people. So.
Oh yeah, and it was also like because business was obviously down in the US. This was like the first chance a lot of UK fans had to get to see the the WWF close up.
Oh yeah, and buy some merch. Oh boy.
Yeah, well, yeah, they took a whole plane load of merch over and then sold it all.
Yeah,
because it was the first time they could do it without paying them US customs, isn't it?
Yeah,
because I'm sure I had a Bushwhackers t-shirt, but I can't remember where it came from. Like whether that was because we were getting the WWE magazine, and I'm sure there was a catalogue in there where you could order stuff.
Yeah.
So remember, there's all the daft photos of the wrestlers wearing all the t-shirts and things like that. And like the Hitman glasses. I can't remember if that was like shipped from the US or if it was UK pricing.
It was always in like dollars and things, though, wasn't it?
Sure, it was.
They didn't change it because it just came over from WWF magazine was just directly from the American side of things, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When did Silvervision start doing like the tapes and that? Because I'm sure they were involved in the actual physical merchandise as well.
They would have been before this. I would have had the Survivor Series tape like the Christmas or two before that. So.
That's some noise.
And Alan's appeared.
Yeah. How's everybody doing?
Great.
All right.
I'm afraid the wanker bus driver pulled away, so without me getting on the bus, so I had to wait for the next bus. It's very bad service. I was at the stop. I was at the stop. Anyway, how's everyone?
Oh, I mean, if you're calling him a wanker, no wonder he drove away from you.
No, I only called him that afterwards.
Okay.
From the bus driver's perspective, driving off from the drunk Geordie probably made more sense.
Whoa. Nobody said I was drunk. Okay, I may have had a couple. I've got a mixed kebab in my hand. And I'm currently going home, so don't worry, lads. I'll be joining you soon. How's SummerSlam 94? Is it good?
We did 92.
Have you got onto Undertaker versus Undertaker yet? No?
No.
No. Oh, okay. Am I doing the wrong?
This show is, yeah.
Am I doing the wrong show?
Yes, you are.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Are we?
Right.
What match? Yeah.
What to do? Hang up, enjoy your kebab, give us a ring when you get back home.
Oh no, I think it's far more fun to stay on the line and disrupt you as well.
I tried.
What match do you want to?
We haven't even started the matches yet. We're waiting on you because I was like, Al wants to do the dark matches. We better wait on him, said Al.
Oh, you know what? You're a good podcast. You're good lads. Good lads. That's why I like being part of this podcast. You're very good. Very good. The Bushwhackers are in the dark match. And they're the best tag team ever.
Yeah, we know that.
Is that it? Is that what we waited half an hour for?
This is still recording, right?
Yeah,
I think we possibly should cut all this crap out. But
No. I gave you the chance to hang up, Al. You decided not to hang up.
This evidence is remaining in the podcast. Don't you worry about this.
Somebody said about Silvervision when they're released. I've got an article. I've got an article on them somewhere about when they brought the first Silvervisions to England. That's not the best English, but when they were first released in England, I think I need to look at the article.
England? Like
Britain, sorry, UK.
What's missed?
In the UK, I think
you're in Scotland. Of course, it'd be Scotch Mist. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was 1990. It was 1993. I think was the first Silvervisions. I need to look at that, but that's what I think it was.
What were they called then? They Coliseum Video before that.
Not in England. We didn't have anything.
July 1990. That's when
90.
they became the official distributor for WWE in Europe. 7th of July 1990.
Is that what it is? Well, why do I think 93 might be when they released the first pay-per-views? I need to look at that when I get in, because I've got a list. I've got a list of what they first released, it's like it's not the best. It's certainly not the best tapes they could have released. I don't think. But yes, I've got a list. I've got a list of that when I get in. Right, I better look at that. So are you gents having fun?
Oh yeah, loads.
Lots of fun.
We're having great fun.
Good.
We're going to be moving on to the card, Al, so you missed your opportunity for the dark matches.
Oh no! I'm literally running home now. I'm like sprinting. Look.
Do you usually sound this breathless down the phone?
Well, the problem I've got is I wanted to go home and insisted on buying me another drink. So that's what happened. Yes, I bumped into Brewdog. Yeah, of all people, bumped into him and Brewdog, and I said I've got to go home. And he's like, "Oh, you can have one more pint," and then bought me this shitty mango thing at 6.2%. And there you go.
That's it. Off to the race.
Shout out to Brewdog and the shitty mango thing.
He's giving you a shit mango.
Yeah.
And now you're running home.
But Cam, just remember, I'm not allowed to meet officially, apparently. So just remember that.
Oh no, you are. No.
Do I need to know?
Yeah. So that's where I've been. Anyway, I'll tell you what, because it's getting windy and you're probably going to hear me. I'm literally 2 minutes from my door, so I'm going to hang up.
Okay.
I'll join you again, and then we'll start this like seamlessly, like I'm sober as anything, and I remember all things about SummerSlam '94. Okay?
Okay, yeah, we'll see you shortly.
We'll see you shortly. Okay.
So, in his contract, how many days' notice can we give him?
I think none. I think he's on one of those
if he's drunk on the job, we can just fire him.
Just give him straight away.
How many times was he
sure.
SummerSlam '94?
I just want to make sure. I don't want any blowback from HR when we show him the door. That's all I'm saying.
Jesus Christ. Well, I think it's safe to say Alan has surpassed himself this evening already.
I just want to get that clear in my head. What the events are, just what happened there. So we waited for him for half an hour to do the dark matches.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we kind of strung out some chat about some other parts as best we could. And then he joins the call.
Yes.
Toasted at a bus stop with a kebab.
Yes.
Talk about SummerSlam 1994.
Yes.
And then starts talking about he has a list of Silvervision videos at home on an article.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what it is yet. He needs to look for that when he gets in.
Yeah, let's look when he gets in, and then he hung up. Cool, yeah. Because, like, if I said that to me, it's like if I wasn't on this call because the problems with my internet, and you guys told me that, I would have called you liars.
Yeah,
I wouldn't blame you.
But it's good to know that actually did happen. It actually did happen.
Sounds almost fantastical, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yes. Almost fantastic Hal.
Oh no!
Yeah.
No!
Indeed.
Fantastic Hal.
Let's not give the man an ego. He doesn't need one.
What?
No.
Hot sauce Geordie Alan.
Exactly. Fucking hell.
Sweet mother of God.
That bus driver drove off a long time ago, Ewan.
Yep. I don't think that bus driver actually stopped. He sort of slowed down, took one look at Al, went nope.
I mean, he's too fucking tight to get a taxi, so that's the main thing.
Yeah, but if he buys spends money on taxis, that's less money for on Blu-rays about wrestling, isn't it?
Or
true. And maybe they're not going to allow him have a kebab in the back.
That's true.
Probably not. No, are they going to allow a kebab on the bus?
I believe he said. Well, I think if you don't open it, then I think they kind of chill with it. Like if you're actually eating the food, I think that's where they draw the line.
Well, what are the odds he's not already started to eat the kebab though, Phil? Based on the conversation we just had with Alan.
That's true. What did you say? He said mixed kebab, didn't he? I believe he did.
It was a mixed kebab, yes. So for those keeping track at home, it's a mixed kebab this evening.
Yeah.
Mixed with hatred and disappointment. Shall we just crack on?
I need to get
let's go.
Go.
Okay, so this is obviously the first. Is this the first show we've watched on Netflix for this podcast?
It will be, yeah.
Yes, it is. It will be.
Yes,
wow, there you go. Anyway, so that's. It still seems bizarre to me that that's the thing.
I find it weird to have to log into Netflix to like watch. I'm so used to like going on the network, having to go to a different place. It seems alien to me still.
Have you noticed as well when you go to a pay-per-view? I don't know if it's just my connection or whatever. But when you load up a pay-per-view, like it takes a long time to load up the number of episodes.
Yes, it can do that with me sometimes when I was actually looking for the show.
This one did.
I clicked SummerSlam and it took 30 seconds to appear.
Yeah. I searched SummerSlam 92, but it brought me into it treats it as like a season, doesn't it? And then all these
it's weird.
It's like 32 episodes in this season. It goes starts at 1985.
Well, it's like each pay-per-view is a season with one episode.
And one episode. Yeah, it's really, really silly, but I guess it's the only way they have it. I think they've got the same problem with Peacock in the US. It's like if you're looking up a certain episode of Raw, it's like season 15, episode 40 or whatever.
Yeah, because I searched SummerSlam 92, but it didn't take me straight to that one. It took me to the overall thing, which is a bit annoying.
Yeah.
But, there you go. But yeah, there's on one hand, it's nice because it's one less subscription a month. But on the other hand, it's can we just not have the old one back, please?
No, the old one's dead unless you're living in a third world country where it's still available.
Talking myself around again, the play bar is a lot more responsive and actually works.
It is. It does.
It actually memorizes where you left off if you switch off and come back to this. That's a weird thing. And also the ability to download a whole show onto your phone and watch it offline is also quite cool.
Yeah.
We open with the American idea of pageantry and British royal family pomp and circumstance. With Buckingham Palace and that kind of stuff.
Well, you've skipped ahead a wee bit.
I was going to the next bit. If what I'm thinking of. We have a group of the most awkward children in the history of mankind.
No, you have a group of Cameron. You have a group of wrestling fans.
Oh yeah, sorry.
It's
awkward people, wrestling fans. Yeah.
This opening bit triggered a big memory for me because it's the two kids and they're both kind of not looking at the camera but looking at the camera.
Yep.
And they say about Mr. Perfect, Mr. Warrior, and then after that, some kid says something in the background, and I cannot understand what he says, and I couldn't understand then, and I can't understand now, and it really bothers me. I don't know what he said.
Try throw the subtitles on to see if they picked up.
Didn't pick it up.
Oh
no.
Netflix is ruined. Right, let's go somewhere else.
There would be a bit here where I'm playing that clip really loudly and slowly to try and figure out what the kid said.
I think Mr. Perfect's going to be in Ultimate Warrior's corner today. No way, he's going to be on the side of Macho Man Randy Savage. This is a king.
Oh, it's because he's a cheat. That's what he says. Right.
We definitely know what the last kid we speak to says. We definitely know what she said.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Yeah, because we get the infamous small girl who says British Bulldog's going to win whether he wants to or not, which makes it sound like he's in some kind of weird hostage situation.
The British Bulldog's going to win whether he wants to or not.
I mean, he's not allowed to. He's not been allowed to do crack for longer than 10 seconds, so maybe he feels that way.
Well, we're going to get to that later on the show. Then we have the question of the evening. We have Bobby Heenan and Vince McMahon on commentary.
No, King Bobby.
King Bobby the first.
That's what I'm just about to say. Bobby Heenan produces his crown, and he declares himself the King of England, King Bobby. The main question of the evening appears to be which corner is Mr. Perfect going to be in for the world title match tonight? Is he going to be in Randy Savage's corner, Ultimate Warriors? Again, we'll see more on that as the night goes on. Yep. And then we get absolutely zero mention after that of Hitman versus Bulldog being, as that's the main event.
No. Or even actually being a match on the card whatsoever. There's no mention of it at all.
It's just something that appears as a surprise at the end.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
I had a thought about this. Cast your mind back, boys.
Okay.
Right? Do you remember? I can't remember what show it was now. Okay, I'm sure it was WWE. Kind of one before this, but they were in, maybe it was St. Louis. Can't remember where it was, but they had a race. They had a race on. No, I think it was WCW. Maybe they had a race in transit. The guys took the subway to the stadium, and some other people were on was it like a horse and cart or something? And they had a race to get to the stadium.
SummerSlam '97, is it not?
Was it after that? Was it? I thought it was before this.
It was the Godwins and
yeah, you're right.
Sonny.
You're right.
It was like Pittsburgh, I think it was, wasn't it? Because Pittsburgh had a new tram system installed.
Yes,
oh, that was the focus of the show. That's right.
Because I was like, they could have done a race in the tube. Put the bushwhackers on the tube trying to get to Wembley.
Oh,
and then above that, you've got IRS and Money Inc. in a taxi and a limousine trying to get to the stadium as well. And they're both kind of going on the tube, and they think, how great would that have been?
That'd be hilarious. I always keep thinking the thought across my mind: if this was done now, if the WWE did SummerSlam at Wembley now,
Yeah.
you know, regardless of what AEW did, in an alternative universe, they did SummerSlam last year at Wembley. R-Truth would turn up in full rugby gear.
At the wrong stadium. He'd turn up at Twickenham.
Oh no, cricket gear! Imagine it with the pads
Yeah.
on and all sorts.
That'd be great. Anyway, we are up to our first match.
Oh,
wait a minute,
no.
he's back on.
Granddad's here.
Mention a dark match and he appears.
sorry, Drunken Grandad's not got off to a good start tonight. Apologies, people.
I believe in the hot sauce.
Yes, apologies for the night. That bus driver should have let me on the bus. I would have been here a lot. Yeah. But we're doing SummerSlam 92, which I still think holds up as one of the greatest pay-per-views ever done.
Oh boy.
Okay, we'll see.
Nobody else thinks that. Well, we'll see at the end. But
I'm not saying no one else thinks it. I'm just saying we'll keep our powder kegs dry.
Yeah.
I've got a mixed kebab in my hand. It's very, very
I'm
nice.
so glad you said mixed kebab.
In his hand. It's in his mouth.
But I should have made you guess. I should have made you guess what I have in my hand.
No, I think that's
well,
terrible radio. Let's not do that.
It's hatred and disappointment.
Is it a battered sausage?
It's some of that kind of. I tell you what, you open the show and I'll chip in after I've had some of this.
All right,
well,
come on.
Plan.
Al, do you do your dark matches because we're kind of wanting to get into the main show.
I'll do them quickly. Don't you worry at all, Cam. Thank you very much. Right, dark matches. The Bushwhackers and Jim Duggan beat the Nasty Boys in the Mountie in an unadvertised match. Secondly, the great Papa Shango beat Tito Santana in the other dark match. Originally, it was scheduled to be the Texas Tornado, but he'd been fired. So Tito replaced him, but Shango went over. And the third dark match was Tatanka versus the Berserker,
Classic.
which was originally scheduled for the card, but they cut it for due to time. Because if you watch the dark matches back, that's the only one filmed in the dark. However, all three matches weren't really dark because A, they were included on the UK release of the video, but not the US. And B, they were all taped for primetime wrestling.
Ah.
There's your dark match roundup. You go.
Thank you very much.
Geordie Alan's dark match roundup.
We open up with our first match, and it's Money Incorporated versus the Legion of Doom.
Yes.
For the WWF
I
tag
have
team.
an opening question, Cameron. I don't know if you might be able to answer it for me.
Go.
How much do you think the insurance policy was to allow the Legion of Doom to ride motorbikes down to the ring, given the state of said Legion of Doom?
Well, I don't think it's the state of said Legion of Doom. I think it's one half of Legion of Doom.
Yes, that's correct.
You're of course referring to Rocco, yes.
But the interesting fact about this is the fact that they needed permission for this entrance and Undertaker's entrance from Brent Council.
That's right. I would love to have been a fly on the wall during that meeting at the council.
Yeah. We drove a hearse onto Wembley Stadium.
Surely in this day and age, Brent Council would be an NXT wrestler.
Yeah,
okay, that's legitimately funny. Al, well done.
That's actually really good. Yeah. It's like that. What's the thing going around a while ago? It's like if you take a food thing and swap the first letters around, you get a character from Star Wars.
Right.
Like macaroni cheese becomes chacaroni meat.
Oh, I've got a whole Iceland Star Wars set to make up later on then.
Yeah. But yeah, Brent Council, he's definitely like on NXT UK, isn't he?
Oh yeah, definitely back in the day.
Well,
Yep.
you say that about like the kind of difficulty of getting the cars onto the pitch. What about the kid in the crowd? He's got like the homemade Legion of Doom kit with like actual spikes on his shoulders.
Fine, it's made at home. It's not an industrial item. It's fine. That's just a little
There's
kid.
no way you're getting that anywhere near a stadium these days. That kid's getting
because
the ground before he gets off the tube thing. There'll be small children like kebabs on his arm, like kebab sticks all kind of stuck around there, like eyeballs on it and all sorts. That thing looks vicious.
It's the jolly old land of England where small children are given weapons on a regular basis.
Yeah, it's fine. It's the 90s. We did it differently back then.
It's the 90s. We did it differently back then. It was all lads, mags, and small children with blades. Anyway, IRS cuts the typical usual promo of saying about British tax cheats and blah blah blah, royal family this, blah 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 blah. We get the probably I would wager it's the Legion of Doom's best entrance.
Yes,
you're right.
I say this even though it includes Rocco.
What's the deal with that puppet? Was it literally like they just didn't want Paul Ellering to talk? Because Paul Ellering's like a great talker.
Apparently, it was Vince's idea to make them appeal to kids more, give them like a ventriloquist dummy, like a kind of comedy thing.
Again, you look out into the crowd. The kids aren't carrying Roccos around; they're wearing the shoulder pads.
Yeah, Rocco is a strange chapter in the history of Legion of Doom. I mean, I think it's telling the fact that there's actually 2 members of Legion of Doom that don't make it home after this show. Well, no, notoriously, Rocco was, in inverted commas, lost at Heathrow Airport.
AKA sold to the equivalent of cash converters for, I don't know, 20
and
quid.
Apparently they were like waiting for Vince to notice and go, well, where's Rocco? And he was going to give him another one. But then apparently Vince never ever questioned him about it. And this is Rocco's last appearance.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. By Rocco.
Yeah, apparently Animal tells this story in a Q&A, apparently. And they threw him in a bin at Heathrow Airport.
Maybe like the lost Consulvania tape, he's still out there somewhere.
Maybe, but it's just like they just really didn't want him and they thought he was stupid, so they chucked him in the bin, thinking that Vince was going to go ape shit and then give them another one anyway.
I think Al's just dropped off the call and he's heading down to Heathrow as we speak, just in case.
I mean, and I know when we watched matches when we were kids, Legion of Doom were just cool.
Yeah,
and there's certain elements. This isn't the first time during this show that we know this. Knowing what you know now, when you watch this back, you can see exactly what they mean when they say that Hawk was fucking out of it.
Oh god! The fact he didn't crash the bike was a miracle. Because there's one point I think just after they've set off, he was leering to the left. I thought, oh, if only he went like a couple of inches more to the left, this would have been an absolute disaster.
He has got the face. Remember, like in a Generation game, when someone had to take part in a cheerleading thing at the end of the show, and they were kind of trying to follow what was going on. Hawk's got that kind of look on his face, like he doesn't quite know what's going on, where he is.
No, it's just everything's going on around him.
Yeah.
Do we want our first passage from Brett's book tonight? By the way,
I think that's more time for that. Yes, let's go.
Okay. Before you go there. Have you heard the story of how Hawk parks the bike too close to Animal?
No.
He rides it down and he drops his bike right next to Animal, but the exhaust is so hot it lands on Animal's leg and melts his tire to his leg.
Oh my god!
Yep. So he's out of it. He doesn't know what he's doing. It's atrocious. Yeah.
Bloody hell!
That is nuts.
Do you want Brett's take on it,
please?
Yes, I do.
Can you read it out like Robin Leach?
We've already asked.
Good lad.
As in the Rich and Famous.
Yeah.
Oh, WrestleMania 4.
Go on then. Okay. Right.
Yay!
Are you ready? Are we all sitting comfortably? This is from Hitman's autobiography, Hitman, by the way. Page 293, if anyone's interested. I was amazed to see Hawk, who was nearly out on his feet, climb into a rented Harley Davidson and wobble all the way out to the ring behind Animal and their manager, Paul Ellering, who were also on bikes. Not that this should be recognised as some kind of amazing feat in itself, but the truth is that it was. Considering that he was barely conscious from bell to bell, the fact that Hawk, with the help of his opponents, Mike Rotundo and Ted DiBiase, and of Animal, somehow had a match is a testament to all of them. But it mattered little, since Hawk upped and quit the next day, leaving Animal to fend for himself.
Beautiful.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I don't sound bitter or anything, but does that not sound like Bret Hart's bitterness that he didn't get to come down on a motorbike at SummerSlam?
Al, are you trying to say Bret Hart is a bit of a vindictive man?
The entire book, Al, is like fucking 600 pages of bitterness. So don't worry, there's plenty of it.
They come up with a better idea than me. I'll have to slag that idea off. Because, let's face it, here we are, what is it, 35 years on or something? 30, whatever, 20, 33?
Sure.
33?
Yeah.
We remember that entrance. Loads of people remember that entrance. Does anyone, although as good as Bret Hart's match was, does anyone remember his entrance at SummerSlam 92?
Nope.
Well,
there you go.
There's a complaint in his book, Al. We'll get to it later.
Oh, good lad, Cameron.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll get out.
All this chat then about the Hawk's condition during the match and that sort of thing. Suddenly, then it makes sense why the Doomsday device wasn't the finisher for the match.
No, would you?
No, it's
know
obvious that Ted DiBiase is not taking that shit.
No.
Yeah. He took one look at Hawk and went, "That's not going to work for me, brother."
One look at Hawk and it's like, no, no,
Just fuck off. No,
just no. Why would I endanger myself for my family for that? No.
Yeah, it's
You
just
know,
like Animal, just power slam me for fuck's sake. That's it. We'll do it. A lot of this match is Hawk essentially just like in a super hold a lot of the time and just basically existing and being
like
there.
heel work with the many boys. They're doing all kind of. They're like swapping out when they're not tagging. They're doing things with the ropes. The crowd are loving it. They're all the kind of heely stuff they're doing. So they kind of cover off Hawk's complete drunkenness quite well.
I also love at one point how Paul Ellering has got Rocco a steel chair and sat him at the inside.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
Love that.
That was kind of cute. I'm not going to lie.
He's like, I can't carry this around anymore. I'm just going to stick him on a chair. Job done.
Stick him on a chair. Also, traditionally in Legion of Doom matches, from memory, it's always usually Animal that's getting the kick in, and then Hawk gets the hot tag.
Correct.
Yeah, that feels.
No. Hawk always does this stupid shoulder bump every single match.
Yeah.
Look, ow. It's one spot he can remember. Leave the man alone.
I'm sure it's Vince on commentary. I think he says at one point during this whole when Hawk's scene worked over, he kind of goes, "Oh, this must be terribly frustrating for Animal." I'm like, yeah, that's exactly the feeling that he's having right now. He's terribly frustrated.
Yeah, it's probably. You got to go out in front of 80,000 people, and then your partner's fucking
melts part of your costume to your leg.
Yeah, melts part of your tights to your leg.
Can't do you big finisher.
What
You
an
got to do a
idiot.
power slam.
Yeah,
Terribly frustrated about the whole thing.
Fucking pissed off if I was Animal as well. Yeah. Oh well, but there we go.
Because my favorite part of this match was literally the pinfall happens and they couldn't cut away any quicker from the ring.
I know.
They're just like, nope.
Not happening.
Nope.
Yeah, as we said, it's a pretty basic match. It's decent enough considering it's a miracle it hangs together as well as it does.
Yeah.
Because really only 75% of the participants are actually aware they're there.
Hawk's in his bed still.
Yeah.
Yes, Ted DiBiase blatantly doesn't want to take the Doomsday device, and I don't blame him. And then it's power slamming instead, and Animal.
It's a nice looking power slam. You can't deny that.
It's a beautiful power slam. The man can do a
Hawk nearly walks
power
into
slam.
it, by the way.
Yeah, he's kind of
Hawk's just wandering around the ring. This is what's going on.
Hawk's looking for the door to exit the ring.
Yeah,
he's looking for the bar.
Famously, Hawk kind of stayed in London for a week after this, didn't he?
Was he in jail or rehab or both?
He ends up with a biker chapter, does he not?
He does.
Jesus.
He's in Bills or something, yeah.
Yeah, he ends up meeting like Hell's Angels and hanging with them for a week.
Of course he does.
Why not?
So
he's Hawk.
Yeah, this is great.
He's really got a bike. What more does he need?
And then there's this the first match ended. It's fair enough.
Yeah.
It's a decent opener.
Yeah, it's a first match. It's fine.
Yeah, it's a first match. It's fine.
Before you move on, I need to tell you this SummerSlam fact.
Okay.
Go on.
Ding ding.
Do you know that was originally for the titles?
Really?
In my head, I thought it was for the titles.
I thought it was as well. Then
when I watched it again, it's
You're
not.
correct. It was originally advertised as Money Inc. defending against the LOD.
Yeah.
And unless I'm mistaken, you know the gold spikes they wore?
Yeah.
Did they ever wear them any other time in WWE? Because I don't think they did.
Don't
believe so.
Because there is a photo, if you look online, the gold spikes wearing the tag team titles.
Oh, it's a match. Okay.
So this match was 100% going to be LOD's win. But I guess it was probably due to Hawk's
inconsistencies.
Problems.
Inconsistencies. Jesus, there's a term.
They decided to drop Money Inc. drops the belts to Natural Disasters, and we end up with pretty much a nothing tag team match later on.
Yeah.
So, originally in the SummerSlam program, this was your tag team title match.
Wow. Okay. We're backstage because Flair's here. without a match, but somehow in his wrestling gear.
I was going to say, but he's always, he's a true brother. You always have your gear, don't you? You always have your gear because you never know.
True.
You never know.
Then Mean Gene, I put here, Mean Gene gets up in Flair's grill about trying to find out who's Mr. Perfect sided with, the Warrior or Savage. Is it the Warrior? You have to tell us. And Flair does not tell anyone.
No.
Well, on the subtitles on Netflix, it said at the end, he kind of chuckled. It went slide laugh, and I was like, "Oh, Netflix subtitles, you cheeky man!"
Yes. And then we get Virgil, who has a massive bogey in his nostril.
I'm glad you noticed that as well. That's all I could focus on.
This is what I put. Like, decent promo for the boy, apart from the two snotters running down his nose.
Yes.
Right on his top lip, there's two big snail trails right there. I was like, come on.
God bless you, Virgil. God bless you. But yes. Then it's like Sean Mooney says Virgil is set for action, which trade descriptions. And then we get into Virgil versus Nails.
Well, we say we get into it. There's not really a lot of time to get into the match given the content.
Not really. I mean, I don't think it really... It doesn't overstay its welcome. That's the best thing I can say about this match.
That is probably the kindest thing you could say about it.
There's a lot of choking. A lot of choking going on.
A lot of chokes going on. A lot of nightsticks. I mean, it's... Do you think Nails would have been more successful had...
No.
Okay. Moving on.
Oh,
sorry.
Complete your thought, Cameron. I want to hear the rest of your thoughts.
I think, when you get wrestlers that are specifically brought in purely to feud with another wrestler directly.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kane.
There you go.
That's actually a good example.
That would be the exception to the rule then.
Yeah.
Yes, but at first he looked like crap, but you're right, he did hang on and did a good career.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, obviously Nails is brought in, his whole storyline is tied in with the Boss Man.
Yeah.
And you're kind of thinking, okay, you're just waiting for him to wrestle the Boss Man, which obviously comes at Survivor Series.
And then what do you do?
And then, up until that point, what do? You just have him just choke folk out.
Batter him for left,
And then,
right, and centre.
After that, what do you do? Because you had kind of the feud that he's there for.
Well, I'm pleased you asked, Cam, because I can answer a couple of them questions.
All right.
Being the good drunken broadcast journalist I am.
Yes. I'm glad you had to drunken.
Originally, if this was taking place in Washington, which I don't know if you touched on at the start, but where it was going to be, they were going to run a Bossman Nails match.
Okay.
Here.
Now, it probably would have ended the double disqualification or double count out.
Yeah.
The build for you remember the nightstick match at Survivor Series?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So that's what they're going to build towards, but all the booking just got threw out. As soon as he said going to London, they changed everything on this card pretty much. And just decided to go straight to the nightstick match without any, at least house show matches aside, any big match between the two, just straight into Survivor Series. I think it would have made more sense to run a match between the two at this point in time because, going from a nothing to a gimmick match seems quite a big jump with nothing in between.
Yeah, you want to that to kind of build up to, don't you? But I mean, he's already got Bossman's nightstick though, hasn't he? That's the one he's got in the ring. It's the actual Bossman's.
Yeah. They stole the nightstick, hasn't they?
As we all know, the nightstick to the Bossman is what the urn is to the Undertaker. So he's got his powers. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, that ties in nicely to the next point. So the Bossman, the Nails put the Bossman out by giving him a beating, and that's why he's not at this SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Although I forgot to look at the TV date where he actually came back on TV, but in storyline purposes, certainly before SummerSlam, he was wrote off because Nails gave him a big beating. That's why Virgil's took his place because Bossman's supposedly too injured, so he's best made Virgil. Although I don't ever remember any sort of interaction.
As we all know, they were best friends. Clearly,
an American police officer being best mates with a black guy.
Well,
Cobb County, Georgia, as well.
So don't worry, boss man. I'll do you proud and get choked out in 3 minutes or whatever it is. But that's the storyline. Anyway, the Paul Carmaster, which was the best. Where was Nails going after the boss man?
The unemployment
Was it
line?
the Undertaker?
Yep. If you thought WrestleMania 9 with Gonzalez was bad,
oh Jesus,
it could have been against Nails.
Oh Lord,
I'm sure I remember looking like is it K-Show's matches or whatever it is that kind of lists all the kind of matches. And I'm sure they were like doing loads of house show matches.
You're right. There's a very famous magazine that pictures, I think it was October '92 or something, a very famous picture of Taker and Nails face to face on the front of the magazine. But this is what you'll love. WrestleMania 9, Nails versus The Undertaker.
Ooh.
Would it be a normal match?
No.
It would be an electric chair match.
Oh, because that worked well for WCW back in the day.
I don't even know what that entails, but that's what was the plan, was to have Nails versus Undertaker.
We really are living in the worst timeline if we missed out on that, I tell you.
Oh my god.
Yes, we are.
To be honest though, look, if you look at WrestleMania 9 and how that match panned out, the chloroform probably would have made more sense for Nails.
Yes.
Chloroform him out, put an electric chair. Well, I don't know whether the feud would have lasted to WrestleMania 9, but some people think it would. And if it was just, but what got me about Nails was, I know we're going off subject a bit, was if you're going to build this new heel up, which, I'll mention the point now, there's no heels left in 1992, literally. You're struggling. That's why you've got face versus face in 2 main events tonight. They've got no heels. So people like Kamala, Nails, Razor Ramon, they were going to be built to be the next big heels, which really only Ramon did. Nails is like, he's coming from nowhere, and they really want to build him up. And then they just decide to job him to Boss Man to Survivor Series. Like, when I went into that match, he's very much a kayfabe kid. It's like, I want to see Boss Man win so much, but he's just going to get beat up off this new bad guy. And Boss Man won. It's like, well, where's Nails going? How's he going anywhere after losing his only big feud?
Yeah,
and he's lost it. Yeah,
because you're right. Like, I didn't even think about that, because like Flair ostensibly is like the biggest heel, but he's not even wrestling on this card, which makes And like, who's number 2 after him? Like, there's nobody else.
You've lost Sid Justice. You've lost Jake the Snake.
Yeah.
To a lesser extent, you're going to lose the Mountie very shortly. I know he's not the biggest guy, the mid-carder. So yeah, WWF have left with no heels. Bizarrely, if you ever read Flair's autobiography, after 92, he went to Vince. He went like, so what you got planned for me? And Vince went, nothing. We've got nothing booked.
Makes no sense.
Like, but you're like the only heel we've got left. So Flair went, can I have me release? And he's like, if you put Mr. Perfect over, you can have your release. So it's like
turning perfect heel, turning perfect babyface as well.
From a booking point of view, it is baffling.
Yeah.
And then of course the next big heel is Luger, and what is he? 6 months later, he's an American waving, flag waving babyface.
Yeah, that was quite the evolution from the narcissist. I'll say that.
Yeah, and obviously Yokozuna's the only hope, really. He's not debuted yet, but Yokozuna's the next big hope for a heel. They're so low on heels, they have to get Jerry Lawler from the USWA, Memphis, to come in. And
that's right.
God. That's crazy. Yeah, I didn't even consider that, because like when you look and watch it as a kid, you don't really think about it in those kind of terms. But it's just like most of your big, like the people who would have been big heels are awfully like, DiBiase's in a tag team now, isn't he? Earthquake's in a tag team.
Justice got done for drugs bust, and he left. You're right.
Sean's not quite ready yet for the big leagues.
They did Jake the Snake as a massive heel with the whole Cobra, but he wanted to be a booker, and Vince didn't want to be a booker, so he went to WCW. Yeah, crazy, isn't it? Yeah. Absolutely crazy.
We got more out of that one match than they actually did out of the match itself.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
just to check in the Bobby Heenan quote of the match at the end after Virgil gets beaten up. He says, "Nails hit him right in the wickets."
Wee, references. Woo.
Like that. Appreciate that. And then we cut to the second drunkest man in the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Well, are we talking about Lord Alfred Hayes ASMR?
Cameron, how did you read my notes? That's exactly what I wrote down.
I have been investigating the whereabouts of Mr. Perfect since he arrived on the scene with Ric Flair.
It's just the way it's like kind of going, you got to go, I am outside the Ultimate Warrior's dressing room.
The Ultimate Warrior doesn't know I'm here.
Yes, I'm deciding I'm going to throw my usual journalistic standards to the wind and just barge on in.
I have an objection. Lord Alfred did not have any journalistic intentions at any one point in time.
No, not at all. And it's the way that he kind of like decides he's not going to knock, tries to barge in anyway, The door is slammed in his face, and he turns to the camera and goes, "How rude!" I was like, "You're the one trying to just basically walk in, mate."
Look, I think Alfred Hayes was probably the same bar Hawk was at.
I will clarify that is later. He's at the Macho Man store right now, and it's completely
Oh,
locked.
he's at the Macho Man. Am I getting confused between the two?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I'll move that later. Don't worry about that. It'll be seamless in the edit. Don't worry, Cam.
Oh, absolutely. Nah. Yeah. So, as I say, it's ASMR. I'm outside the Macho Man's dressing room.
Perfect. I'll cut him perfectly there. Don't worry. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's just, like, unbelievably
It's ridiculous.
just weird. I would watch an entire show about Lord Alfred Hayes trying to find people.
Lord Alfred Hayes, PI.
Yeah, Alfred Hayes, PI. That's what that's...
Oh, no. No, instead of challenge Annika, challenge Alfred.
Oh,
I'm like, don't put him in a helicopter because I think that might be dangerous.
No, put him in a helicopter. No! The Interceptor with Lord Alfred Hayes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Yes,
oh,
yes,
that's a deep cut, and I love it.
That's it.
Excuse me, sir. I think I'm looking for you. Could you please stop? Don't run away from me.
Could you please just turn around so I can shoot that backpack of yours?
They could just get too far. He goes, fuck it. Oh, there's a pub. Oh, well. Lord Alfred Hayes Interceptor. That used to happen.
And a warm welcome to a special Christmas edition of Interceptor.
Can I a Lord Alfred Hayes interlude?
This is what we're on right now.
Very quickly, something I didn't mention at the start, but I don't know if it's on Daily Motion, but it used to be on YouTube. Some guy had taped the first hour on a camcorder.
Oh,
SummerSlam 92,
right?
Yeah, just sat in the crowd.
It's got Howard Finkel's announcement of saying that you can't throw anything to the ring. You've got to carry a ticket at all times. You know what I mean?
Right,
you know,
that normal thing you get at a house show.
And then he cuts to Bobby Heenan in Gorilla Monsoon. He introduces him. But the real reason I want to tell you about this is because between the 6-man tag at the start and the Papa Shango dark match, there was a dark segment that I don't think's ever been aired properly on any media. Yep, dark segment. I don't know why, because certainly if I was in the crowd at the time, I wouldn't react. Howard Finkel introduces 5 legends just in the ring randomly to the London crowd.
Oh.
Okay.
Right?
Uh-huh.
I will give names. And believe me, as a 12-year-old kid or 11-year-old kid when this was broadcast, if I was in the audience, I would think I would only really know who one was, possibly 2 at the push.
Right.
Right. Number 1, Angelo Poffo. Now famed dad of the Macho Man, but in 1992 in Britain, would he mean anything?
No, not at all.
No.
Probably not, no.
Number 2, Larry Hennig, again, father of Mr. Perfect. In 1992 Great Britain, would he mean anything?
No.
3, very past his prime, Freddie Blassie.
Oh, that's mean. Come on.
Oh.
No, but in 1992 he was past his prime. He wasn't a manager before. Yeah, he got more fame in the Attitude Era, he did. But, like, during the Invasion angle and stuff. But in 1990, I didn't know who he was. Not in 1992, I wouldn't have knew who he was.
Right.
Fair.
Number 4.
Cilla Black.
Lord Alfred. He would have got a pop because I knew who he was. And finally, which Finkel gives him a really big intro, is Pat Patterson.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So, again, okay. I don't know. I might be missing something, but I don't get the point of this segment. Like, I read about that segment and I thought it's lies, isn't it? Somebody's just made it up for the internet. But when I watched it, I'm like, no, it's not. They're introducing these legends to the crowd. But like, it's so strange. It's not like they've got Big Daddy or Giant Haystacks or any of the British guys to do it. Because this is the first event. I'll just add this in. Sorry, my alcohol's flowing. This is the first real event in Britain where they've not included the English guys.
That's right.
Because they've had like Albert Hall and Rampage. They've had dark matches for the English wrestlers. But in this SummerSlam event, they must think, we've got enough people. We're over now. We don't need any of this British guy stinking up our cards. And like, yeah, there's none of them. Like, you know, imagine Haystacks or Big Daddy being introduced, not wrestling, but just introduced for the crowd at that moment in time. I think Big Daddy was still alive in '92. Haystacks certainly was.
He would still just about get a pop, wouldn't he?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, a lot of parents were there, so yeah, I could see that.
But they've introduced these guys, and maybe people in the audience are more better than me, but I just don't think the coverage of these legends in the UK was available. So, with the exception of Alfred Hayes and possibly Patterson, I don't know if people would know who the other guys really were. I certainly wouldn't at that point in time know who any of them other guys were.
No, agreed.
But there you go. That also happened at SummerSlam. Just thought I'd mention it. On with the card. Yeah, we've got lads.
It's the Mean Gene and Sherry promo now.
Oh, yes.
Which, my favourite part of this was they kind of show the whole feud brewing between Model and Shawn Michaels and the Model. And it's a bit where, like, Rick Martel comes down to ringside and he sees Sherry and he tips her the wink. And Sherry, like, reacts like he's just dropped his trunks in front of her. Like, her face when he winked at her was hysterical. She's all like, oh my goodness. But she kind of loves him. So that's kind of the intrigue of the match, isn't it?
There's a lot of carry-on camping style sort of like going on with this thing, yeah.
Do you think that was deliberate? Like try and play to the UK audience? Or do you think that was just how it came out?
Maybe it's how it came out.
Really. If I was to make a list of underrated and forgotten wrestling matches that are still fucking brilliant, right? This would be on the list for me. I love this match.
Shall I tell you the exact point where I was like, this is going to be cracking? It's when Martel comes off the ropes, HBK goes to do something, and Martel cartwheels out of the way. And I was like, yes.
Yeah. I popped when I saw that.
Give me a cartwheel.
On paper, it's a difficult sell because it's heel versus heel.
Can't hit each other in the face.
And yeah, but that's the key thing. You because of the no punching each other in the face rule, because we're both too handsome to, to do any damage to each other. You are obviously waiting for the first guy to break that.
Yeah.
And that for me is like the best thing. That's the hook of the match, is who's going to be a bastard first, basically.
Somewhere Pac's been activated.
Sherry being there Sherry's got a reason for being there. And she's an integral part of this love triangle. Yeah, and it's absolutely
very cleverly booked. Very cleverly booked.
I love it. There's not actually that much. I don't remember that much of the in-ring stuff.
Oh, I've written down just like lots of like amazing hair pulling.
Oh, don't forget the intro.
Oh, you're talking about Sherry's outfit?
No, I was talking about Martel's outfit.
Oh, yes. And Martel. Wimbledon.
Just for tennis.
Vince tries to poo-poo it by saying, he's a little bit late for Wimbledon. It was 2 months ago. Oh, maybe means the US Open. No, he doesn't, Vince, because he's in London.
That's where tennis is from.
Yes. And it's just like, yeah. And then also, I love Vince's great thing about this is there's a moment where Sherry turns around and then Vince says, I think there's a part of Sherry's outfit missing.
Yeah.
Which is just...
I was so glad Laura was on commentary for this match. Could you imagine?
Oh, Christ, yeah. Can you even imagine?
I prefer not to. My life is happier if I don't think about that.
I'm not sure why I've written this down, but I've written down a quote from commentary where someone says Lady Giraffes, and I'm not sure what happened or why. I didn't put any context around it.
I don't know what happened there either.
Martel does have a way with the ladies. I suppose he does. Or so does Shawn Michaels. So do I. What? I'm Lady Giraffes. I'm a heartthrob.
Oh, there's a lot of arse show in this match for both counts, I think.
Yeah.
In the ring and outside. Yeah, all three.
SummerSlam 92, a lot of arse.
All of the moon.
Arse showing going on. Yes. Anyone else quite surprised to see switching music or the crescent kick as just a sort of mid-match move?
Yeah,
it's nothing. Yeah, back then it was a nothing.
It's not even a setup move for anything. It's just a move in his arsenal.
It's just super.
I think we've done it at Rumble 92 as well. It's just a move. It's nothing. Yeah.
What was his finisher at this point then?
Supposed to be the like back suplex, isn't it?
Yeah.
Teardrop
suplex. There you go.
That's it. Because I only really know that because that's the finisher he has in Royal Rumble on the Super Nintendo.
It is indeed. It's
wow. See, it's not still about. It's just in the culture, the time wrestling. Anyway, I think we're just about the highlight of the match where I can't remember who breaks, but there's a slap.
Yes, I think it's Sean slaps Rick.
Oh. Sherry's on the apron, and I've written down that Sherry literally swoons.
Yes, she passes out.
Yeah, she's
the
very
faces
into
of
this.
the two lads in the ring on Rick's and Sean's face when she goes down. Oh, it's so funny. Just when they kind of look at her and kind of go, "What?"
Yeah, and then it's like a race to see who could be the most chivalrous.
Yeah,
it's just like
the chest compressions.
Yes, because yeah.
Reasons.
Reasons for reasons. Yeah, it becomes a bit of a kind of like stops being a wrestling match and becomes a bit more of a pantomime theatre production after that. But I don't mind. It's fucking great. I love it.
Because I think at some point they get counted out. They're fighting in the walkway. Sherry wakes up and kind of goes, "They're not fighting over me," and swoons again. And then you kind of get out.
She's like slyly kind of looking at the aisle, going, "Are they near? Are they near? Are they near? No, they're over there." And then she just goes, again. It's just like it's really obvious. Like she's just like faking the whole thing to try and like, get attention.
Security come out, including the guy with the rod hole hair. He comes out.
Yes. There's one point where Rick Martel ends up going to the back, coming back through the curtain because he's got a bucket of water that he's going to then pour over Sherry, which then Vince kind of like makes out like, still the humiliation. She's absolutely humiliated. No, she's not. She's just had a bit of splash of water over her. Vince, calm the fuck down.
Well, I'm sure before that,
fine.
I'm sure before that, Heenan's sure they're going to pile drive Sherry in the aisle. I'm sure that comes out of his mouth.
He's going to pile drive Sherry. He's going to what? He's going to pile drive Sherry.
It's farcical, it's ludicrous, but I was greatly entertained.
I had a great time by that.
It's beautiful. It's a wonderful 20 minutes of the show is this match. I love it. It's great. I forgot how good this match was.
Do you know who else liked that match? It was the Nasty Boys. They're loving it.
Oh,
yeah, they love it. Yeah, here's the Nasty Boys.
Hilariously laughing about.
I've just got here, Nasty Boys ranting.
I mean, that's every Nasty Boys promo ever.
Yeah, and it's just like
the bit at the end, not so side camera, but he kind of goes, "In the name of the Queen of England."
In the name of the Queen of England, I don't know why we don't have a title shot.
Is this a promo where Jimmy Hart's like kind of going, "Oh yeah, we'll get your title shot. It'll be
against maybe, but no, we'll do
Yeah.
In the name of the Queen of England." It's fully into my lexicon since I watched that point. Anything that happens, I'm like, in the name of the Queen of England, because he's got full arms going like up and down and all sorts with it. It's brilliant.
And next, as we've previously alluded to, we have the Beverly Brothers versus the Natural Disasters for the WWF tag team titles.
This is a combination of teams.
This is a 4 men, at least all of whom are compos mentis, as far as we're aware.
Well, I say this is 4 men, but given the size of 2 of the gentlemen, I would say this is actually 6 men.
6 men, yeah, plus the genius.
Well, true, yeah.
Yes,
I mean, I only have 3 lines of notes for this match.
You wrote more than me.
It says Typhoon has really strong kickouts. Crowd are into it. Earthquake wins it.
I think I had the crowd round to it, and then the winner. That was it. I had nothing else to say.
Well, I've written down at this point where Heenan's mentions that Shawn Michaels has left Wembley Stadium. So we need to make note of that.
Oh yeah. Was that the start of that as a thing?
I'm not sure.
Or was that something he always did when he was heel?
I feel like he must have already started doing it. I'm not going to go back through the archive and find out, Karen. I'm not going to do that.
No,
there's a bit of shenanigans where I think they kind of chuck the metal scroll in and they hit Typhoon on the head. And I quite like that bit because Earthquake's like, I'm not having that, and he just drops the elbow to one of the Beverly's heads as they're doing the pin, like a real kind of proper Earthquake full elbow, bang, you're getting some.
Yeah, and I noticed that at no point did the Beverly Brothers attempt their fucking backdrop spike thing onto any of either natural disaster.
No, it's not going to work at all, is it?
That's not That's
no.
Just
and also, I've got a note. I need to make it like a Botchamania ending because when Earthquake's doing his finisher, he hits Blake off the apron. He just kind of gets fired out of the stadium. If you can see him.
I think that was planned. I do know the spot you mean when he gets knocked, but
you just see him fly off camera.
I don't know, it looks very seamless.
Yeah, because you just see him just disappear off towards the air off the edge of the thing. And, like you just want to kind of cut to like outside the stadium and him just kind of flying out into the space or something. I need to get around to doing that. But yeah, they win, and then the Genius gets flung out, and it's a match that happened.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, here we are. Bit more backstage stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the Bushwhackers. I've put down here, why the fuck are they here? But I suppose, as Al said, they've had a dark match earlier on in the evening.
They're all talking about Perfect because that's on everybody's mind.
We get a mention of Royal Sardines.
Yeah.
And,
I think Mean Gene starts talking to Butch, and as he's asking the question, Butch is just gyrating for the whole point of the. He's looking at the camera, just gyrating his arms as Mean Gene asks him a question.
I do wonder if the Bushwhackers were actually a team of like two really nervous men, and all of these like gyrations and mannerisms was just a way of coping with it.
Were you just trying to say that the Bushwhackers were just stimming all the way through this?
I don't know what's going on. And he just can't stop. He's like marching on the spot with his arms going as Mean Gene's trying to speak to him. It's like, just imagine. But then we've not talked about this yet. But Lord Alfred H is outside the Ultimate Warriors dressing room. Cameron, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Lord Alfred H, SMI.
I think you're just going to cut and paste, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll be dropped in now.
Are we talking about Lord Alfred Hayes ASMR? It's just the way it's like kind of going, you got to go, I am outside the Ultimate Warriors dressing room. And here, yes, I'm deciding I'm going to throw my usual journalistic standards to the wind and just barge on in.
But what I also written down, though, is that this is obviously Lord Alfred Hayes, his exhaustive search for Mr. Perfect.
Yes.
The exhaustive search being two dressing rooms where he might be.
Yeah, with like hastily crayon signs, blue tacked to the door.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it was blue tack. I think it was just like sellotape, like folded over in itself and like stuck on. Blue tack would actually cost money.
And as you point out, Alfred Hayes goes full, Solid Snake Alfred Hayes goes full sneaky.
Solid Snake Alfred Hayes, no.
Sorry, okay. Big boss Lord Alfred Hayes tries to get in there. And just gets the door slammed in his face. Oh, the door closes. Down quick.
I've got to interrupt you. Have you ever heard the interview with Roddy Piper?
Which one? He did a few.
Many interviews with Roddy Piper.
With Alfred Hayes.
Narrow this one down.
Well, it's just what you said about Solid Snake Alfred Hayes. He would often try and put his penis in Piper's hand without them noticing.
Okay.
What?
You've never heard this? Yeah.
During a promo?
Apparently, Alfred Hayes is very renowned for being quite a large gentleman. And he found it fun to just try and get Piper unexpectedly at different occasions with his drunk.
What?
So he would be standing there, and then he would turn around, and then the Alfred Hayes would like have it locked over his shoulder or something like that.
I don't know how to react to this.
Well, I bet it's like keep his voice like, bet you miss me, huh?
Bet you miss me, huh? Thump.
I'm slipping you the willy right now.
Oh my god.
It's better with headphones.
Oh my god! Oh, no.
So yeah, you can look that up if you want.
I don't want to look up Alfred's penis. Thank you.
No. I think this final quote from Hayes sums up this kind of last bit where he says, "A shocking and vulgar act of rudeness at the act of closing the door on somebody who's trying to sneak in."
Yeah, closing the door on someone who's trying to just walk into your room. Yeah. That one.
Boy.
Never mind.
God. Oh.
Anyway, next match. Demolition explode.
So I've written that down as well.
Yeah. Crush was bloody dull.
Has this
Yes.
good music though? Has this ever happened before where like two ex-tag team partners fight and there's no mention of it at all because they're both in different gimmicks now?
Well, I mean, it's probably the same as not mentioning your main event.
Also, we get what's it been say about Crush? He has a very bright future. Mm-hmm.
I mean, for like a couple months.
Well, what? He was like in Demolition, kinda. Then he was Crush, Hawaiian, Kona Bram.
Yeah,
and then he was Evil Crush by
Crush.
WrestleMania 10. So he's got a couple of years left of this shit to go.
He goes through Doink. That's the thing with Doink, doesn't he? That's Kona Crush.
And then he fucks off. And then he has that really dull period of time when he's in DOA and he's got like, Last Buddy Quiz and all that crap. And then he ends up leaving. And then he's one half of Chronic at the end, isn't he?
Who knows? That's his bright future.
That's pretty much some of it, really.
I mean, it's a future. Is it bright? It's questionable.
I think my highlight of Crush's match is, I think I'm being hard on Crush, but I remember liking him when he kind of rocked up. Probably because he was a big lad. And they told me he was good, so I thought I better like him. But I don't know something about him and Adam Bomb. I both liked those two.
Weirdly, was Adam Bomb not the other half of Chronic?
Who knows?
I think you might be right.
What do you mean? Who knows? Yes, he was.
Yes.
There you go.
I love that tag team. But the only thing that kind of stands out about him at this point is the fact he's got his own name several times on his trunks.
In case he forgets.
Yeah.
In case he forgets.
Think about it, though, for Crush's finisher, I always thought it looked quite cool when I was a kid. You're literally just crushing someone's skull. It works. Yeah. But then from an actual logistical point of view, it doesn't cause... It's got a really low risk of injury for either party.
Yeah.
And it's literally just like, you have to kind of basically clasp your hands lightly around your opponent's head as they go and sell it like death.
As you try really hard.
That's you done. Yeah. So smart from that point of view.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This match lasts 5 minutes, and that's all I can... I think my one highlight is like a really casual eye poke from the Repo Man, which I quite like. He just kind of goes right in his eye. That's good. And we get another kick out where someone gets launched out of the ring because Crush didn't watch one of the early matches, clearly.
Yeah, exactly.
We've had that 3 times now, I think. It doesn't happen in the LOD match.
Yeah, I've got to know. I say lots of people getting thrown out of the ring after pinfall attempts tonight.
Yeah. Typhoon does it about 4 times, and then we get this one here as well. It's like, come on, guys. Come on.
Next, we get Mean Gene with Warrior and Savage. Uh-oh.
No. I've got to intervene with a fact.
Oh, another fact.
Right. Crush versus Repo Man.
Yes.
What if I told you that's a dark match on the UK broadcast?
Really?
That does make sense because the one listing I looked at, it does note it as a dark match, and I did wonder.
So it wasn't on when it was broadcast originally, was it?
Not the UK. It was on America, but not the UK.
So it'll be the American version we've got on the almost at the network. Rest in peace.
And I'm sure somebody's going to ask me why, and I can present the answer.
Why, Alan? Why?
Because that is the 3rd ever Monday Night Football for the Premier League.
Oh.
And they chose for Andy Gray and Alan Keyes to promote the Norwich versus Notts Forest match that followed SummerSlam.
That's fucking brilliant.
They cut the Crush match so they could have a little interlude to promote the football.
That's amazing.
I still wish I had my original. I take this when it was off Sky originally. Well, my dad taped it. Someone taped it. I would have loved to watch that back.
Probably would have had this bit in the middle of it, I guess.
I don't remember that though.
Incredible.
Like, watching it before, I got no recollection. But then I can't remember if I remember Crush or not. If that makes sense.
No, it definitely wasn't on the UK version. Definitely wasn't. Notts Forest won 3-1, I believe.
There we go.
Thanks for the score update, Alan.
Sorry, no, the other way around. Norwich won 3-1. Sorry, Norwich won 3-1.
I was going to say Norwich had a pretty hot team in the early 90s, so I imagine they would have won.
They did.
Because another thing, which I was going to say at the start, we actually, I think it possibly the only time, we got this pay-per-view before America.
Yes.
Wembley Stadium, the home of top sporting events. Monday at 4 on Sky Sports. For the first time in the history of the World Wrestling Federation, one of the biggest events will take Wembley by storm. It's the greatest, it's the hottest, It's SummerSlam. See your favorite superstars, including the British Bulldog, Bret the Hitman Hart, and many more. SummerSlam, Monday afternoon at 4 on Sky Sports, in association with the video board game Atmosphere.
Because it was live on the Saturday night, but it was shown on the telly on the Monday, and in England it was a bank holiday, so they popped it on at 4 o'clock.
That's right.
Where I believe the US was probably around 7, but even if it was 4 o'clock, because of the time difference, we actually got it first. So that's a very rarity for us to get it first. But the Americans got the crush match, and we did not.
I guess the modern equivalent these days would be our sort of biannual Blood Money shows now, because they start at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Or if they ever go to like a Japan show or something.
Biannual Blood Money shows. I think that should be the name of it, actually.
I don't think we should encourage that somehow.
WWE head removal.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
Jeez,
Deep cut to journalism in Saudi Arabia. Sorry about that.
WWE deep cut. There's another one you can't use. Jesus Christ. Anyway.
Yeah, we've got Mean Gene with Warrior and Savage.
It goes through the history of the matches and kind of the video history of these two.
I've got it down here. The Nasty Boys seem like a really crap choice to split a tag team of Macho Man and the Ultimate Warrior.
I mean, you could have just stopped with the Nasty Team are a crap choice.
Yeah.
That was on SummerSlam Spectacular, I believe.
Spectacular's being kind.
Flair and Perfect are kind of working over. Are they working over Warrior? And then the Nasties are just like wrecking Macho on the other side of the ring. But that singlet, because this is where Warrior's wearing singlets now. That flesh colored one he was wearing wasn't the greatest of looks.
I think, was it not that they were trying to clamp down on the whole steroid thing a little bit, and he was a bit worried he was losing definition?
I think Macho as well said you should kind of change up your gimmick a little bit. It's where you kind of switch to the trunks and that sort of stuff. But like when like the entire thing is flesh colored, it's like
we had this, then we got Giant Gonzalez.
Oh, we'll come back to
that
later.
was at least a strategically placed hair.
Fair, okay, very fair.
But Giant Gonzalez would do with that Manscaped sponsorship.
Oh my God, sweet Jesus!
For when you're trying to make your gentlemanly area presentable.
I don't think even that would help Giant Gonzalez.
No, not really, no. But anyway, we get Vince, who is determined that Bobby Heenan knows who sold out. So we get Vince, you know who sold out. And this is described as the main event throughout the entire of the conversation leading up to it. This next match.
This is the earliest equivalent of the Kiss Demon being the main event on Nitro at like hour 1.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
You had to be a main event.
Correct.
So they just put a ridiculous one on, yeah.
So here's Warrior versus Savage for the WWF Championship. No Mr. Perfect in either corner during the entrances. No sign of him at all. I know it's tempting, and it was the same thing when we did WrestleMania 7. You're tempted to go along with everyone and say that the Ultimate Warrior was a clueless dick who didn't know how the fuck how to wrestle, and he was useless and never had a good match in his life.
I would say the Ultimate Warrior had his limitations, but what he could do, he did very, very well.
I think if you put him in there with someone who can lead him,
correct,
he's great.
Yeah.
If you put him somewhere who, if you put him in with someone who was fucking clueless, then it was terrible. So, yeah. But this match is pretty fucking good.
Yep.
I'd say it's not maybe on par with the WrestleMania 7 one, I don't think.
Oh, it's not. You're right. That's better, but this isn't far off it.
Yeah, so I was going to say it's not. It's just a small shade shy of it. It's fucking great. They do absolutely nothing at the start, but the crowd are going bonkers.
Crowd are well up for it, aren't they?
There's lots of just staring at each other and just like psyching each other out. Lots of shoving. Savage uses there's big clotheslines. Savage uses the tights to pull Warrior at the turnbuckles, which really
2 goes of that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, yeah. Aye, they fuck up the first one.
Oh yeah, well, I've written down there that the Macho Man's taking the Warrior to Double Axe Handle City.
Yes, twice.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of Double Axe Handles.
Only for a 2 count. Warrior backbreaker for a 2 count. Macho small package for a 2. This is when Macho's back ends up getting done and he's selling his back. And Warrior 2's credit works the back. He's got the psychology.
I've noticed as well that the Warrior does both an inverted and verted atomic drop.
Thus, revealing his entire arsenal.
Yes, I was going to say. He's used all of his moves in the first 10 minutes of the match.
All of his moves in the first 10 minutes. It's great. And then Flair and Perfect come down. Is a whole like back and forth between, Perfect gets in the ring when the referee's back's turned. He attacks Warrior, and then they all think that Savage is the one that paid them. No, he attacks Savage first, doesn't he?
Yeah, he trips Savage off the ropes, doesn't he? He hooks his leg.
Yeah. And then it's always like, Vince is going nuts because it's all like, we now know, we know that it was Warrior that paid them, and all this, and it's just fucking great. And it ends up with, it's a good match that maybe has a bit of a crap ending because it's kind of like a count out. Then obviously Warrior wins, but then doesn't get the title. So it's maybe a bit of a damp squib at the end, but I like this match on the whole.
My thought on that was like, if this was a few years later, this is a triple threat match. It's Perfect versus Warrior versus Flair. If this was like, Attitude Era kind of time, there's no way this isn't a triple threat match. And I think, would it have been better to have Flair like involved from the beginning in the match rather than the whole shenanigans with what corner Perfect's going to be in? Because that doesn't really make. I'm not going to say it doesn't not make sense. Like having a person in your corner is going to help, but it kind of like it's a bit like Perfect becomes the focus on the match rather than the guys in the ring. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas a triple threat match with Flair involved, I think that would have been even better. But I suppose this kind of period, was anybody doing a triple threat match or tornado match or whatever it was called by then?
No, you're not doing triple threats till like 97.
Exactly, yeah. Yes, it's way too early for it. But
there's a triple threat match. There's the first triple threat match I can remember on WWF pay-per-view, which was, oddly enough, Crush versus Farouk versus Savio Vega.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant because they haven't quite established the rules of triple threats yet. So when it's like, it's usually just one person's outside the ring and they have a singles match and then they just rotate. There's none of that because they haven't quite worked out the formula yet. And it's basically just all three of them leathering each other for 20 minutes.
That sounds brilliant.
And it's great.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Or if you didn't do a triple threat, you'd have Perfect as guest referee.
Oh, that's the other one, isn't it? Yeah.
So I don't know if Perfect's back injury is quite healed by this time.
Well, he's getting involved in action, isn't he? He's kind of running around and jumping around and getting involved in stuff, but he's not taking any bumps, is he?
He's not taking back bumps, is he? Really?
No.
So, and I know they're going to go down the route of Perfect as guest ref later on, as years go by. But I think, this would have been the perfect opportunity for guest referee Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, I think that makes it more interesting than him being in the ring, in the corner. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like who's paid off the referee, to blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
You could just have those moments where it's like, kind of go, there's a Macho tries to pin Warrior, and then it's like he goes 1, 2, and then goes, nah, shoulders up, mate, shoulders up,
yeah,
shoulders up, when blatantly it's not, and all that kind of stuff.
That'd be
brilliant. Yeah,
worst timeline.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, it's one of them accidents that work. Because ultimately the match becomes about them injuring Savage's leg.
Yeah, because he gets a chair, doesn't he? Like he does an accident to the outside and Flair waffles his knee.
I don't know what it is in TV time, but in tapings time, it's like a week after. Flair beats Savage because of the injured leg.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole event, for their point of view, the heels' point of view, is just really to injure Savage so Flair gets the title back.
Yeah.
And then it works out even better because of Warrior getting sacked. Perfect becomes the perfect partner almost at Survivor Series.
Yeah, we were kind of, I think it was me and Ewan were kind of talking about this. If you kind of knew that Warrior wasn't going to stick around, you would probably lay the seeds for Perfect teaming with Savage at Survivor Series in this.
Yeah, but because I think they were living in a time where they thought that they had the Warrior in pretty secure terms that they could. I think this maybe was the first instance of them having to panic book a new angle because then something went awry.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Once you got Warrior walking out, it does affect the main events.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Hawk turning up and he doesn't know who he is. He's just calling himself Eagle, for example.
Wow,
matter of time.
Better than calling. Imagine if he called himself Budgie.
Sparrow.
Great tit.
The whole point. The whole point of the match was.
Go on.
It was all about Perfect and Flair joining Warrior. That was the whole point of the match. But not long before it, Warrior decided he didn't like that idea anymore. So that's why they had to change everything to just this mess almost where Flair and Perfect just sabotage the match rather than trying to help the match.
Yeah.
It sounds very much on brand.
It's a bit sad the way that, Macho Man gets counted out really fucking quickly at the end as well. There's no way that's a 10 count.
No,
It seems like 4. Oh, by the way, he's counted out.
Counted out, yeah. Done.
Warrior's heel turn was the original plan, but he decided he didn't want to do it again. So,
wonderful.
Yeah, they had to improvise. And
you get the whole thing of who sold out, who sold out, who sold out. As it turned out, neither.
Yeah, it was.
Which I think is a bit of the clue when they say at the start, going, both men suspicious of the other one. Well, they're not going to be suspicious of the other one if they're the ones that sold out, are they?
They're bluffing each other.
I was going to say, unless it's a double bluff.
You know what? What about an alternate universe where they're just both sold out and just both decided a new stable, Flair, Savage, and Warrior? Yeah, fuck this match. We don't want to wrestle it. Where the new stable, where the London World Order.
Flair, Savage, and Warrior in their own stable. That's pretty decent, actually.
Yeah, I could live with that.
Yeah. That's the NWO like 4 years early. That's what happened there.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a good.
That'd be really cool.
That sounds like a missed opportunity.
And weirdly, obviously, all 4 men would go on to go to WCW.
Exactly. They would all leave.
With all varying degrees of success.
Yes.
Yes.
And then we get the promo. Yeah, we get Mean Gene with Perfect and Flair, who are explaining that that was the plan B, and Flair's complaining about the fact that he should have been in the title match. It was his shot all along. Blah 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 blah. Anyway,
Perfect says divot head to Mean Gene. Shut up, divot head.
Yeah, which is interesting.
I just want to say that was the main event for SummerSlam.
That's it. Are we going to stop now then?
No. I mean, it was Flair. Flair Savage was the main event for SummerSlam.
Yeah, so it would have been in Washington.
Yeah, if it had been in Washington. And then, so, what Flair's saying has some elements of truth to it, yes.
Of course it does.
I see.
We then get Harvey Whippleman back in the ring.
Yeah, all angry and stuff.
Who I'd forgotten existed. It's got a note here. So, as we lead into Kamala versus Undertaker, which I had in my head was the casket match, but this isn't the casket match.
Survivor Series.
Yeah, I was like, how racist was Kamala? Not as in himself, as in how racist was the gimmick of Kamala?
I'm sorry, Cameron. His handler was called Kim Chi.
Yes,
he
was from the deepest, darkest continent of Africa.
Yeah.
Yes,
and they're talking about how he wants to capture the Undertaker and cook him in a pot.
Yeah.
Where in reality, Kamala was a very lovely Southern gentleman that also had quite a good music career as well.
Something all the time. Man can take this life, but politician won't play a role in the next one. What did you gain by killing a man? It's the devil who think he has won. Hold on, Tookie, hold on. Do you think what he did, trying to help others, is worth living? He turned their life around for so many brothers. Hold on.
I feel, before we go on to this match, I just need a little interlude again.
Was that a toilet break?
I went on about the SummerSlam card that wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Oh?
Who do you think The Undertaker was very highly probably due to facing SummerSlam?
Any heels?
Right. I give it so A, he's not a good heel.
Okay.
And B, they even filmed the angle, which was memorable but not really good.
Ooh.
That could be anything.
And the wrestler probably should have went to jail before he even got to SummerSlam.
Oh.
Is Hercules still about?
No, but you're not a million miles away.
Paul
Phil.
Roman.
No, but he looks more like Hercules.
Warlord? No.
Oh, no, you're very close now. You're very close.
The Berserker?
Hey, Berserker.
Hey!
So they filmed an angle on the telly where Berserker tried to stab Undertaker with his sword.
Wow.
Fucking hell.
And he walked away.
Oh, yeah, and he gets stuck in the ring.
Yeah, the sword's there stuck in the ring. Yeah,
Not stuck in his ring. stuck in the ring.
Oh my!
Thank you for clarifying that, Cameron.
That was pretty much Undertaker's big summer program, which it was going to be, and I think you'll guess this one. Backstepping just one bit. Who was Warrior's original opponent?
Hercules.
Sobriety?
Think of what happened very famously with Warrior during the summer.
Papa Shango.
Papa Shango. That was your original.
I think that had a proper finish, did it? All the kind of weird voodoo stuff that was happening to Warrior.
All the black tar shit. And...
Yep, that's what it was building to, and they decided the house shows were so bad, we better go in another direction, pretty much.
And they chose this direction?
The Undertaker got the bad end of the stick.
Oh, Christ.
I've got two favourite parts of this match. Well, I say match. That happens.
Would when it's over? Would that be one?
No, not quite. But it's when Undertaker's coming to the ring on the back of a hearse, and the helpful caption pops up, reminding us that he is in fact the Undertaker. That was quite good.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
you might have had some first-time viewers who weren't aware that because who's this like well-dressed gentleman riding to the ring?
Hey, no. Ewan, what happened was it's like Jesus Christ, the funeral down the Wembley cemeteries took a wrong turn. Oh my God, what's happening here?
Why is the procession riding on the hearse? That seems a bit unorthodox.
What's going on here? This is ridiculous.
Oh no, Nana Betty's funeral. Oh no, what's she doing at Wembley Stadium? Kamala's going to eat her before we can cremate her.
Oh my God. Oh no.
But the other bit is right at the end. It's after Kamala, fair play to him, does a splash from the top ropes.
I don't know why he did that.
They're kind of getting out of the ring, and then Paul Bearer's got the urn, and he raises it up, and he smacks the apron with his hand. Undertaker sits up, and then the bong hits, and it's like, oh, it's just like, oh.
Perhaps has been given his last rites by the Ugandan giant, who was disqualified. Kamala. Whoa! Oh no!
Start of the good stuff.
I've just got another point. Is at this moment in time in 1992, when I watched this, I had no idea Kamala had a previous WWE career. I thought it was like, this is a new guy come in. But of course, he was a big monster in '86 against Hogan and stuff. But at the time, I had no idea this was him returning 6 years later to.
Well, there was no Silver Vision, was there?
Oh,
well, that's true. Not for that time period, anyway. Yeah, it was a bit of an odd one.
This is that really horrible time for the Undertaker, wasn't it? Where he's just like, just get a weird big lad and just throw him at the Undertaker.
I think, to be honest, the first fucking 6 or 7 years of Undertaker's career was basically that.
Yeah.
I think it's only really when he starts getting like Mick Foley and Bret Hart.
Well,
SummerSlam 97.
Rumble 96.
But yeah, Rumble 90, that kind of it. It's only really that where he actually gets a chance to show that he can actually fucking wrestle. And not just have to kind of lumber around the place. But fucking hell, those first 5-6 years must have been tough going.
We'll call them the lumbering years now.
I'm sure the pay was good.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm sure of that. But it's like, you must have thought, what fucking waste of space they're going to give me now. Yeah. Anyway.
Hence Giant Gonzalez. Which reminds me, I had a whole thing about that, but I'm like, I was going to talk about the legacy of the Warrior's trunks that he wears for his match.
Yeah.
And like how he kind of finishes the match and he kind of chucks him, in the wash and they go off into the costume room. And then 6 months later, a basketball player from Argentina is trying to find an outfit for his gimmick. And he walks through the costume ring and he goes, "Oh, what's that over there? Oh, guys, I tell you what, stick some hair on that and we got a goer." And thus was born from the ashes of the Ultimate Warrior was Giant Gonzalez.
I'd have preferred if it remained in ashes, to be honest. But
imagine an alternative universe if they swapped gimmicks. Imagine Giant Gonzalez, all 8 foot of him just running down the ring.
He'd probably trip and break his leg.
Shake himself to bits.
Yeah. Just great. Imagine the height you'd get off a gorilla press slam.
That's true, but yeah, he got his gimmick for the Ultimate Warrior's singlet in this match.
There you go.
That's my SummerSlam fact.
British Bulldog was always shit on the microphone, wasn't he?
I mean, yes.
Do you mean when he's talking like this during his promo about wrestling? And that.
He was talking about wrestling? I fell asleep.
But for the biggest matches of his career.
Yeah.
Yep.
I do like though when he says about like I hope that the families will reunite. As he does that, he brings his fingers together to kind of symbolize the reuniting of the families.
Well, I watched this. I don't think it's on SummerSlam. I think it's on the Spectacular or the TV. They actually interview Bruce Hart.
Of course they do.
Oh shit.
Hey, Davey Boy's a great wrestler in his own right. And if anything, I think the factor that might come to play more than Brett realizes when they step into the ring in Wembley is the ego or the overconfidence factor. Yeah, Brett, you're a hell of a wrestler, but when your head's this big, sometimes you can't do your best.
I believe this is Bruce trying to angle for a job to cover. Yeah,
I do feel like as bitter as Brett is, Bruce is where the true bitterness lies.
Yeah, because Bruce never got an opportunity, did he?
Exactly. That's how bitter he is.
Apart
he
from
never
what, like Survivor Series '94 was it when it was? Yeah.
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 Jesus.
Terrible.
Christ.
And then Brett comes out with a really good response to promo, lifting the glasses up, looking in the eye, and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, pretty decent. I know a lot of people have popped at Brett saying he's crap on the microphone as well, but he's all right. He's not.
He's just very surgical. It's very to the point. There's not a lot of razzmatazz.
Yeah, there's not a lot of razzmatazz.
He's ticking the boxes.
And then we get the surprise of the evening, which is.
Are you referring to the Balmoral Highlanders?
Maybe for you and it's a surprise for you.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how a pipe band would have gone down in the middle of London.
As a kid, I remember watching it, thinking this is really good. Like, I don't know much about bagpipes, but just bringing Piper in for that bit, I thought was really nice little nod to him. And that, since an 11-year-old kid, I really enjoyed that. So I do still enjoy it as an adult. Yeah,
nice little nod to the Canadian Scottish gentleman.
Well, of course, his last match at that point was against Bret Hart.
Oh, the classic WrestleMania 8 match.
And it's doing what he does. I mean, in a gimmick sense, although really he could play the bagpipes very well because he had Scottish ancestry. Sorry, I can't say that.
Is he playing them though? Is he playing them?
I think he is.
Oh, Cam, please don't destroy my kayfabe. I always believe he has done. I always believe he did do in that bit. It might be on the internet somewhere, but don't destroy it. I just want to live thinking he did.
I think if you examine his finger to wish for another word.
Phil, never say that sentence ever again.
I think he is playing the bagpipes. You see like the way he's hitting all the notes and stuff. I think he is doing it. But did you also notice he was wearing his wrestling boots the whole time as well?
Yeah.
Like Flair, you never know when a match is going to happen. You just never know.
Never know that. Yeah, it could be. You know, it could be. Bruce Hart could jump up at any moment.
Always wear full gear. Always
Exactly. Next, we move on to. I'll have to admit this, boys. There's only one point in this entire show I fast forward, and it was this one because holy, sweet mother of Jesus, I have never ever on my television experienced more of a charisma vacuum than Diana Smith.
Well, it's certain to be a war. That is definitely true.
Well, yes, I've been given a great honor tonight.
Sweet fucking Lord. It's
like
God.
Sean Mooney trying to reenact the Lady Diana interview, with his kind of soft voice.
Yeah.
Oh, you must be feeling really oh God, it's terrible, isn't it? But SummerSlam, let's go.
She's just there kind of going, I really love Brett and I really love Davey and I couldn't possibly choose between them. And then Sean Mooney's just going, yeah, but who do you think is going to win?
Who's going to win? And to the match.
Who's going to win? Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to... Oh, it must be terrible. Well, it's terrible, watching the families, but, do you think... Who's going to walk up with the title, Diana? Who's going to walk up with the title? And it's like, oh...
Yeah, who's going to kill the other one? Come on, tell us.
Oh, that's a passive racing, Phil.
That's fair point, yeah.
And then it seems to go on for about 5 minutes.
It is.
He's just wittering on to the point where Sean Mooney just then has to cut her off and go, well, yeah, it's going to be mental, okay. Can you pick a winner? And she's like, no, I really couldn't pick a winner. It's causing too much damage to my family.
He's like, great, I'll go to the ring.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably because they had Lennox Lewis backstage trying to get the flag unfurled to come out with a debut. That's probably what was going on. So they were trying to get Mooney to fill time.
Yeah. When they said, when Vince during the entrance goes, it's Lennox Lewis and he'll be here fighting, Razor Ruddock. And I had to Google it. I was like, because the only Razor Ruddock I know was Neil Ruddock, who played defence for Liverpool.
I was going to say, we're going to West Ham and Liverpool
Yeah.
defence.
Is that where his nickname came from? Because
Is Lennox Lewis punching a footballer?
What does Heenan call him? Does Heenan not call him something else?
he calls him Razor Ramon versus Joe Lewis, I think is what he says.
Yeah, he says it's Razor Ramon. Razor Ramon is in a boxing match.
And he definitely does do a good bit of flag waving.
I mean, he's got one job and he does it very well.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just that.
Before we get to the main event, I've just got a few things to clean up.
There we go. What, the kebab?
Yeah, because hopefully one of them's not your crotch.
Oh, Jesus.
So, since we're on the main event, and I've been doing alternate SummerSlams, I'm sure you all know this, but what was the alternate Bret Hart match for tonight?
So he's Intercontinental Champion.
Yep.
Who's left that he could have gone against?
They've already wrestled tonight.
Sean.
It was indeed.
Yeah, I only know that, Al, because I've actually got his book open and it says that.
Cheating.
So yes, I don't know if it would have happened, but originally he pitched the ladder match.
That would have been
Yes.
a bit of a,
There's a whole thing in here in the section before I know. He invented the ladder match and Vince was really high on it. And that's what they were going to do at SummerSlam. But then suddenly it's like, yeah, that's it. It's not going to happen.
So we disregard the ladder match that ever happened in like Stampede Wrestling, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everything was his idea, by the way.
Of course.
Vince said at the taping, Vince was like, right, you want this ladder match demonstrated to me? Bret's like, what? So he demonstrated to me. So he had to run and find a ladder and explain it to Sean. And that's the famous match that made it onto some videotapes. But I don't think it was ever 100% confirmed. It was definitely going to be Bret Sean, but I don't think it was ever going to be 100% a ladder match. There were probably
a regular match.
Bret was pushing for it, but whether it would have happened, I don't know. But the much harder question, well, who was Davey Boy's opponent?
Sobriety.
Hey.
Okay. I'm going to give you the angle, and you'll probably get it over the angle, because it looks like this was almost set in stone, because they filmed the angle and cut a promo for the match at SummerSlam, and it was quite an explicit angle for this moment in time, so I think it was set in stone. This man hung Davey Boy over the top rope. You know, like the spot they used Jericho Bradshaw from the Royal Rumble. Do you remember that one?
I do.
Yeah.
A very similar spot in 1992 to set up the angle.
I cannot remember.
I'll give you one more clue if there's no guesses.
No.
Who brought a rope to the ring in 1992?
Repo Man?
Repo Man.
Wow.
Yes, that. Yeah. So I think out of it, Bulldog looked out by getting this.
Yeah,
I would say so.
Very, very fit, as opposed to a throwaway match against the Repo Man. Yeah, apparently they filmed it. It's shown, and Repo Man cuts a promo saying Bulldog's never going to make it to SummerSlam, that sort of thing. So it looks like that was very highly going to be Bulldog's match, which would have been enough. I guess it would have been pretty much a squash, very close to a squash match for Bulldog.
Yeah.
There's no way the Repo Man was going over, but that's an alternate one. And since we've done it, I'll just finish off with the only other match I believe would have been on the SummerSlam card. Mountie versus Sergeant Slaughter was the other one they were trying for.
Okay.
Which would have been Slaughter's probably last full-time match. So I can only assume they were probably going to try and put the Mountie over by having them destroy Slaughter.
Yeah.
But instead, they filmed an angle on Superstars. Who got these are the question. Who got the honour of retiring Sergeant Slaughter in this run?
Oh.
And I give you one. He's been on this card tonight.
Martel.
I'll give you one more clue. He wasn't on the card very long tonight.
Virgil.
Close.
Nails?
Nails got the credit of retiring Sergeant Slaughter. They filmed it on Superstars, so it's on YouTube if you want to watch it.
All right.
He attacked Slaughter before a match and ended Slaughter's career because he wanted to retire anyway, but they let Nails retire Slaughter to get him some credibility sort of thing, yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
So I think of everything I've went through tonight, that's pretty much the alternate SummerSlam Cardiff did, with Legion Doom win tag team titles, Flair Savage, the Warrior, everything else. The only other possibility was Tatanka Martel one pay-per-view early, because it was at WrestleMania 8. They did it at Survivor Series, and it was possibly going to be SummerSlam instead. But again, the old found other things to do, and I don't think there's any other matches that I can think of. We'll do the main event, and if I think of anything, I will let you know.
Thank you.
All right.
You want Brett's book for the run-up to this match?
Oh, yes.
Come on, Robert.
When I arrived in London, hundreds of fans poured out of the hotel lobby to chant my name in the streets. I set out to find Davey, but he was off somewhere with Diana and his family. I didn't see him until the required entrance rehearsal at Wembley Stadium the night before the show. When I asked him why he hadn't returned my calls all summer, he wasn't able to look me in the eye. He fessed up that he'd been smoking crack with Jim for weeks and was now terrified. He'd gone back to being the same helpless kid I'd rescued from dynamite 10 years earlier. Trust me, Davey, I'll do all that I can to get you through tomorrow. Okay? He nodded, and I sat him down for a crash course, going over and over our match and making him recite the moves back to me. It was now completely up to me to save our match.
Completely up to me.
Bret Hart's the only man who's had 5-star classics with himself.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's a whole breakdown of the entire match from Bret's point of view, but it's like 5 pages long.
Let's not do that.
The way I look at it, I think Davey Boy maybe not 100% there, but you've got to have somebody good to have that sort of match. I don't care. It's such a good match. Davey's contributed to some ways. It's not just Bret wrestling
I think
himself
it's
sort of
instinct
thing.
with Davey. I think it's there's that sort of like you could be absolutely out your tits, which obviously he was a lot of the time, but he still knew the fundamentals of wrestling enough that even in his advanced state, he was still able to put on something resembling a wrestling match, but to bring it up to that level that was expected for a match at Wembley in the quote-unquote main event of the show, that Bret needed to play his part as well. But I think Bret very much overstates what he did in that match to a degree.
You can certainly see Bret talking to him during the match, can't you? In the wrestle, that sort of thing. But like to say that, like he kind of by himself carried that match through. The other guy still got to come to the table, like you say, Ewan. Like you still need 2 people to get to a good match. You can't just make it a good match by sheer force of will.
No, because that will make it worse.
Yeah.
If you try to force it, it'll make it worse. But if you try and you've dealt a bad hand. Yes, the situation's not ideal, but if you can get through it and make it somewhat into things, I think it's safe to say the crowd in attendance that day quite enjoyed themselves during this match.
It's like the Hogan Rock match. Like I think like a good chunk of this match comes from that crowd being as hot as they are for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that kind of like I would really want is Hitman to kind of lean into being a heel a bit more, because he's getting booed, and there's a few times you're going to place up
he's
to the
got an
crowd.
answer for you there, Phil.
Oh, has he?
For you there. Here we go. I made sure I didn't overdo it as a heel, knowing the fans would forgive me in the end when I lost. 25 minutes into the match, I locked Davey in a sleeper hold, and the crowd immediately got behind him, cheering him on to revive himself as he crawled to the ropes, gasping for air. I snapped a beautiful boot straight to his face, grazing the tip of his nose like I'd snapped it hard with my finger to wake him up.
What a hero Bret Hart is.
Yeah, what a hero. So basically, he's tried all through this chapter. He's trying to basically say that he didn't want to turn heel because he knew that he might have got a world title shot coming up.
Yeah,
as he does, as we know, because it's him that dethrones Flair, and this is him kind of saying goodbye to that kind of mid card, essentially.
Yeah.
But he wants to keep his popularity, so he knows he's going to be a face champion.
Yeah, because it's not like the Canadian Stampede when like Stone Cold's like, right, I'm going to heal this because the crowd want it.
Yeah,
so
that's because they're in Canada, and
it.
the Hart Foundation were heels in America only, pretty much.
Yeah. So, but it's like Hitman's not doing that though, is he? He's not like kind of reading the crowd and going, right, I'm going to play up even more to it. He's just like, I've got my own thing coming on, Davey, so I'm just going to be like a little bit naughty, but not full naughty.
It's very selfish, I think, because I know Bret Hart's selfish shock, but any other wrestler would have been just went, right, clearly I am not going to be the favourite of this crowd because I'm facing the local hero, not Joe Henry, the hometown hero,
Actually, he turned up in the match.
That would be, was he alive?
No, probably not. Would have been weird.
Well, one night you could be the asshole. And one night isn't going to affect the rest of your wrestling career. People will know it's circumstantial. People will understand that, he wasn't basically in hostile territory. He was the epitome of everything that is wrong because Davey Boy didn't have the belt at that point in time. So I think for one night only, he could have just swallowed his pride, sucked it up. He knew he was going to be getting the run soon. And I don't think one night of being the dastardly heel to Davey Boy Smith's face would have made a single difference. But that's clearly not how the Hitman works.
No, you've got it wrong.
Oh, do I? Okay.
Bret Hart was so good. The whole stadium was really cheering for him. Nobody wanted Davey Boy to win. They were all cheering for him.
Makes sense because he carried Davey, so therefore he's getting the cheers. Because he's puppeteering Davey to be that good, isn't he?
Can we just agree that Bret Hart's a bit of a self-centered, egotistical maniac here?
A little bit. Maybe a
I've got 600 pages here of Ewan that suggest that.
You know what, Ewan? You know what? As good as the match was, do you know who I think could have carried that match better?
The referee?
Bill Goldberg. He would have done a much better job.
God.
Much better job.
Oh, that talentless hack.
It is like a bit up and down from Davey though, because I think like there is some great bits where he's like really good. Like there's a bit where he's getting like European forearms from Hitman and he counters it into a backslide. That was pretty cool. But then he also kind of tries to do a press slam on Bret Hart, stumbles backward and kind of drops him onto the ropes.
Yeah, there's definitely some rough patterns.
He's got you covered there. He's got you covered. Phil. Yes. We went into a beautiful sequence of moves, ending up with an old Hart Foundation Bulldog spot where a groggy Davey went for a press slam, but lost his balance and accidentally crotched me on the ropes to the roar of the crowd.
Oh, he planned it, did he? Oh,
yeah. He got you. He got me. See, I thought it was a botch because, like, he does the press slam like a little bit later, and it's kind of like, yeah, I've done it. I meant to do a press slam, and I've done it now, so it's fine. We'll move on. But Bret Hart, he's always like 3 moves ahead, isn't he? Yep, he's a thinking man's wrestler.
If you read on, Cameron, does he not complain he crotched him too hard and nearly split him in half? Or is that a different spot?
Yep. As we got to our feet, I attempted a front suplex, but Davey didn't budge. Instead, he blocked it, lifted me straight up, and dropped me painfully hard on the top corner strut, nearly castrating me. A half-inch over, and the match would have ended right there and then.
It's like Bret Hart's in the room, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like he's here. You know what I mean?
Like he's here. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Like he's here. The last bit's the bit I was going to read because it's the ending, but whenever we're ready.
We'll do that in a minute. I would quite like. There's a big part of the match where Bret Hart's working over Davey, but he spreads out his 5 moves of doom throughout the entire period. Like he doesn't do one after another. We get the side Russian leg sweep, and then a few more moves, and then the backbreaker, and then a few more moves, and the second turnbuckle elbow drop. Like he doesn't cedar it and do them all in one go. He kind of spreads them out nicely, which is kind of because he's the thinking man's wrestler, like you say, Cameron. He doesn't he's not going to get all the good stuff out there straight away.
Nope.
I need someone to jog my memory for this spot because I can't remember which way around it is. Is it Bret springboarding to the outside and Davey forgets, and he kind of lands on Davey's back. Is that?
Yeah, no, I've written that down.
So-
It's like he kind of invents the kind of like the over the top rope sling blade,
Yeah, that's it. Because he forgets to catch him.
and he kind of gets
Yeah.
his head and kind of sling blades him to the floor, which looks cool, but I don't think he planned it.
He's got his back to it, hasn't he? Yeah.
Particularly, say it looks really good, but it also looks like, I don't think he meant that.
So before we round up and we finish the main event off, we're going to have a little game of who's not popular.
Oh.
Right.
I have no idea for the context of this. Let's go.
I was going to say, you're wondering where this is going, aren't you?
Yeah.
So they took a massive roster over to London.
Yeah.
Who was left at home?
Ooh. Coco Beware.
Okay.
Yep. You got a point, Phil. Coco Beware was one of them.
Nick Roberts.
No, he's gone.
He's
He's
away. He's away. WCW.
Skinner.
Yeah, 2 points, Phil. Skinner. No, he's gone.
Owen Hart.
He's gone.
Owen Hart. Well, Owen Hart was injured, but he was also left at home. Yes.
Yeah.
He's on the shelf. So it doesn't really count.
Oh my god. 1992. I'm trying to think
Tanker.
of who's. No, it's Tanker's there. He's in a dark match.
Oh yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
I'll
give you the only other. Well, I'll give you one guy. It's the Boss Man, but I don't know if he's back on TV wrestling because he was wrote off because of nails.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Okay.
And you're the other guy's not on the card because he's very newly debuted.
Adam Bomb.
Razor Ramon.
Razor Ramon, you're correct. Yep,
yeah.
that's it. The only other guy is Slaughter, but I think he was, like I said, he wanted to retire anyway, so he's possibly there in the backstage role.
Yeah.
But Slaughter wanted to hang up the boots, so he was done. But yeah, but the ones I feel bad for, at least Owen Hart's got the excuse he's injured, but I think he wasn't going anywhere. But yeah, Skinner and Coco Beware. So you've got all this list of everybody going to England for this pay-per-view, and you're like,
you too.
Oh, yeah.
Bit awkward.
So yes, it certainly is. Anyway, I just thought I'd bring up that point, and you can continue on with the main event.
Okay.
One thing that always confused me about the end of the match, well, towards the end of the match, is like Davey does like a complicated arm single for the power slam. Like, was that a thing? I don't remember him ever doing it before or after.
I don't remember signaling for the move. No,
he just like his arms in the air, and he kind of does like an arm thing, and the crowd go, "Whoa!" And Vince is like, "Oh, he's signaling for the power slam," and I was like, "Was he?"
Yeah, but was that not like just to get a cheap pot from the crowd? Because like it's like with Jake Roberts did like the circular thing, to signify
Yeah, but I
the
don't remember
DDT.
him ever doing like that before ever. So it just seemed to like be like, "Oh, I don't remember." It was just weird. And he does it like not facing the hard cam. So you can't really see it anyway. In typical drunk Davey Boy fashion.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a tick rather than like an actual deliberate move.
Maybe like the Bushwhackers earlier.
Exactly. There you go.
Maybe was here. But that's when Brett kicks out. Does he kicks out the power slam? It's like, oh, he kicked out of the power slam.
He does.
Davey can't win it.
He does. Hold on. Davey climbed onto the top corner, and before he had time to think about it, we did a standing vertical suplex off the top, crashing to the mat below. This was considered the most high-risk, breathtaking move in the business at the time. As Davey draped an arm over me for the 1, 2, I kicked out again at the last possible second. The crowd was stunned, but they'd only seen the appetizers. The best was yet to come.
Was it because like they do a sharpshooter on the floor,
and
then it's the finish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a couple of paragraphs away. Yeah.
Because I love that. Because like they're both lying on the floor, and Hitman kind of gets him on like the legs into the position, all that, and he's like, "He can't turn him," and then Hitman turns him. He's like, "Oh yeah, you can turn him."
Do you want the ending?
Yeah.
The time had come to break the hearts of all my fans and forever change my destiny. Let's go home, I called, as I slammed one last lifter into Davey's chest, rocking him hard enough to send sweat flying into the air. I squeezed his wrist as the cue to reverse me into the ropes, and I dove over him for a sunset flip, the simplest move in wrestling. But instead of falling backwards, we did the old Leo Burke finish, Davey fell forward, hooking my legs with his arms, collapsing on top of me and pinning me beautifully. 1, 2, 3. We did it. I did it. There was a deafening roar as Rule Britannia played, and Joey gave Davey the IC belt. After 37 grueling minutes, I lay on the mat, feigning being broken-hearted, but in fact I was elated. I was also exhausted and in considerable pain, but I knew that the handshake at the end would top it all off, the last detail in this drama. I made out that I was too pissed off to shake Davey's hand. I had planned all this with Davey, but it became painfully obvious to me he'd forgotten all about it. I desperately tried to make eye contact, but he was oblivious as Diana climbed into the ring crying. I can only assume for real. I'm thinking, come on Davey, look at me and we'll make them all cry. But Davey never caught on. Instead he was trying to milk the crowd. I was thinking the drama is with me, not them. For fuck's sake, please look at me, Davey. After too many attempts, I gave up and just walked over and shook his hand. He'd completely missed one of the tiny moments that can make all the more real. But what could I do? The torch had been passed. Everything hurt. Even my fingers were sore. There you go.
What can
I just wanted to... Yeah, well, that's one thing to say, Ewan, but one thing... what length of time did you give that match?
37 minutes.
37 minutes.
Well, it's only 25 minutes, Brett, so, you know...
It felt like 37 minutes.
Does he mean like the entrances as well? Maybe he means that.
He's probably annoyed that Savage Warrior got more time than him.
That's true.
Probably, yeah. There's a bit at the end here as well, not about the actual match, but hold on. The next day, I flew to America and ended up in the usual Holiday Inn in Baltimore, watching the match on tape in my room. There was a knock at the door, and I was surprised to see Randy Savage and Ric Flair come strutting in. Randy grabbed my hand and told me, "Brother, that was the match of all matches," Flair said. "Hitman, let me shake your hand." A couple of hours later, Shawn Michaels came by. He said he'd heard that I had a tape of the match, and he wanted to watch it, and so we did. He stared at the screen with a look of amazement, and when it was over, he stood up, shook my hand, looked me in the eye, and said, "You are the best man." In-fucking-credible. That'll be all from Bret Hart tonight.
Was that fan fiction or was that actually happening?
Well, that's in the book.
Can you write your own fan fiction? Is that possible?
Can I just have a reverse of that? Do you think in 5 years' time, Bret Hart went to Shawn Michaels' room and said, "Can we watch that Survivor Series 97 match together"?
I don't think that probably happened.
If you want me to look up Survivor Series 97, I can. Yeah.
Oh no, it's about 10 chapters, Cameron.
It's a good, yeah.
Two more little facts I want to do before you get into the nitty gritty of whatever's left. But I didn't know this at the time. They give Drunk Hawk 15 minutes for that opening match. 15 minutes. I didn't know it went on that long.
Neither did he.
It's a well, no, did he? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it seems a bit of a lengthy one. And the other thing is, you know, he said earlier on he was smoking crack all summer with Neidhart.
Yes.
Yeah.
He does have the whole of like August off. So I don't know if he's injured. He doesn't do any house shows. I've just looked it up. So I don't know if he's injured or they were just keeping him for the SummerSlam, but there's no matches for Davey Boy for the whole of August.
He's smoking crack.
Smoking a lot of crack with Jim Neidhart, yeah.
Anyway, that's my point, Gents. You conclude with what you want.
I think we're pretty much done.
Well,
it was.
Yeah, I think we're
like,
done.
I remember
really.
watching that finish was like I think probably one of the kind of first surprise finishes I'd seen like that. It just kind of comes out of nowhere. You know what I mean? That kind of reversing the pin into that thing. It was in such a big match. Like I remember it being like surprising when I first watched it.
I was going to say I think it's more necessity than design. It's not like
yeah.
And maybe I would imagine that Bulldog's not really capable of putting together a lot of, one big move and putting them together, another big move to put them together. So he's going to be that lucky roll
going to be the
thing.
Yeah.
I think the roll-up was always going to be a finish or some variety, because all Brett's big matches do. The match against Owen has the roll-up. His rematch against Bulldog has it. His win against Diesel.
Yeah.
I think the sneak pin's one of Brett's favourite, finishes for big matches.
It kind of catches you off guard, doesn't it? You're kind of like, whoa, like that when it finishes.
He also likes, the phantom submission endings. But apart from that, the other point I want to make is this match, despite the fun we've made of it, is still fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
And holds up best matches ever.
As much as we ripped the piss out of Brett and his ego, it is still a fantastic match for a main event.
I do think Davey Boy paid a lot more in this match than Brett is in his book. And I do think it's a bit unfair to say that when the other person isn't alive anymore to give his side of the story.
Yes.
Yeah, I think especially when it's a family member, you could cut some slack and maybe, do you really have to write that he was so out of it he couldn't remember? What you're gaining from that? Surely you cover for your so-called friend. A bit more saying that, he needed a bit of guidance, but between the two of us, we put on a good show. No, like Cameron says, it just seems so ego that he's got to put there.
Yeah.
Davey Boy didn't have a clue what he was doing, and it was all down to me. That was a good match. I don't get why you would do that, especially someone who's your family member. Don't quite get Brett's thought process in that.
You could have just said, I don't quite get Brett, and we'd been fine with that as well.
Yeah. Well, he's always the kind of main event of all of his matches, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's always the main figure, the main event, the number one on the card, the champion. Even when he's not, he always has to place himself there, it seems like.
But it's just like I said, Davey Boy can't give his side of the story. Who else knows? Who else would have really known that it was all it was all down to Brett, that match?
But the only guy would be Jim Neidhart, but he was off his face on crack, so he's not going to know either, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I don't get why you would bury, like, it's literally, that is one of the greatest matches ever. And you're like burying the other guy just to say it's only the greatest match ever because I'm the best wrestler ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's still one of the most iconic images in wrestling, I would say. That, the whole ending of that, the crowd going absolutely ballistic, Davey Boy trying to remember where he is.
Yeah.
I want to bring up our past now, like Bret Hart, and just say I did vote that for the best Intercontinental match ever. And it was shut down, so I just want to bring it up.
Alan bringing receipts, I like it.
Because it was the uniqueness of Wembley in the finish, and you'll never see it again. You'll probably more likely to see it in Saudi Arabia than you would London.
He's not leaving it alone, is he?
That image was iconic.
I think there's only the kind of like equivalent of this was probably going to be All In this year. Or last year, when you had Daniel Bryan Brian Danielson winning the world title against Swerve Strickland.
Yeah.
At Wembley as well. I mean, that moment was pretty cool. So if you're looking for a sort of modern equivalent of it.
Yeah, I would say so.
It's a shame he wasn't English.
Well, yeah, indeed.
The English Dragon, there you go.
English Dragon. Oh, well, some Welsh people are going to disagree with that. Anyway, so that was SummerSlam 1992. I guess the question we need to ask is, where the hell are we going to put this show on the table?
Where are we going to put it?
Oh,
it's top 5.
I would agree.
Get top 8.
Yeah. So,
eight.
Is it better than WrestleMania 10?
I'm going to say yes, but it's very close.
Okay.
I'd say so.
Is it better than SummerSlam 2002?
Ooh.
I believe so, in my opinion.
Really?
Phil?
Oh, come on.
I'm not sure.
The main events. I don't know.
Main event is pretty good, and then after that is Royal Rumble 92.
Yep.
Oh,
I don't think it's better than
what's
Rumble
after
92.
Rumble 92?
New Japan Wrestle Kingdom 8 in Tokyo.
Thank you.
Well, it's obviously going above that for me, but probably not you guys.
I'd be happy putting it at number 3.
Ahead of Rumble 92?
Rumble 92 is only really good because of the actual Rumble match. The undercard Rumble 92 is not great.
Is awful, whereas at least we got some good stuff in the undercard for this, so that's why I'm saying number 3 is probably a good spot for it.
Better than Rumble 92.
It's a close thing. I'll say it's a close thing.
Okay, so we say number 3?
Interestingly, that puts 3 pay-per-views from 1992 in the top 5.
It's the best year in wrestling.
There you go.
Best year of wrestling, apparently.
It's all right, lads, because Survivor Series 92 won't be getting there.
No. So when we get around to doing that, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
So just what I was saying about 1992, if we do Survivor Series, will that mean we'll have completed a year of pay-per-views for that year?
I was just thinking that as well. I think so.
For the WWF, yes.
Yeah.
There's no extra, funny ones in 92, yeah. So, Phil, the question is, who's next?
Who's next? Who is next?
It's
Who's
me.
next, as Goldberg would say, is Ewan.
It's me. And in the spirit of looking back at the past, I'm going to take us back to a simpler time, a time where things weren't quite as they were, a time where people were looking for things in places they weren't expecting. Things were looking for wrestling. People were looking for an escape, and people were looking to climb the corporate ladder, if you were to say. So, we are going to the WWE Performance Center and Titan Towers from Money in the Bank 2020.
Gonna be that one.
Oh, man.
Jeez, you said the corporate ladder.
Oh, God. The COVID show.
The COVID show, yes.
What a retro show for this podcast, yeah. Oh, I can't wait for my pick. I'm choosing Royal Rumble 2025.
Oh, come on.
All right, then. Okay. Yeah, all right.
Such a bitter man.
I was taking the piss there,
I know,
but there you go.
It's weird to even think that was 5 fucking years ago.
Exactly.
I do remember that match being very entertaining, the pair of them.
Yes, because they were
from the office.
They were one of the first examples of pre-recorded matches. Because as we all know, the greatest match ever was pre-recorded, and it still wasn't great. Shout out to Edge, Cope and Randy Orton.
God bless him.
Yep.
But yes, I figured we'd go back to this one because it's a unique environment we find WWE in the midst of the COVID pandemic, and I think it's the example we were talking about, like cinematic matches a little while ago, and I think this is a good example of how you could be dealt an absolute shitter of a hand, but you can still turn it into something very entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember having a good time with it when it landed. Because it was like you say, it was It was like, what are they going to do with this thing? And it kind of like when they kind of said what it was, like, actually that makes complete sense in a weird way.
Yeah. The real question is, will they be able to find the secret entrance to John Laurinaitis' office?
Well, no, Phil. I was going to get some kind of comment about Fred West Patio, and I'm going to leave that completely alone.
Phil, oh my god!
It's on Netflix. I was just checking it's been added, but it's
definitely That'll be the new mantra. Is it on Netflix?
Is it on Netflix?
For some reason, I found my pick for the next one.
Ooh.
We've got the whole WWE stuff on there, and there's Cobra Kai amongst it all. So that's my pick. We're going to do season 1 of Cobra Kai. There we go.
All right, I'd probably do that. Yeah.
Right. And I get told off for making a wildcard pick. Alan picks an entire season of a TV show.
It's just in there. It's for some reason, if you search Money in the Bank, all the events are there: Rumble, Mania, SummerSlam, Clash of the Castle, Bad Blood, SmackDown, Raw, Cobra Kai. There you go.
Ladder on, ladder off, ladder on.
Hey.
There you go.
Is the music playing now? Are we getting the outro? Is it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know if they're going to extra chat.
It's now a good time to say I've never seen Karate Kid. Never seen Karate Kid.
Yes.
Oh, no. You should watch them all. They're extremely good. Extremely good.
They're doing a new film, aren't they? With Jackie Chan and the.
They are.
That one will be good, but yes, they are.
Didn't they already do a new film?
Yeah, they did a Jackie Chan film, but now they're bringing in.
They did a series, Cam. The new film, well, it was new at the time, but that's 2010, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So, it's not.
Jackie Chan played a Mr. Miyagi, and now they're combining the universes.
Wow.
Yep.
So yeah, so next it'll be Money in the Bank 2020, that weird sort of time where I think that another time where WWE had kind of stopped hitting panic mode on
they began
stuff.
to sort of recover a bit because they
I
had
had an idea.
They got binned.
Yeah.
And that was chaos because they had to bin that at the last minute.
It's pre-Thunderdome, isn't it?
It's pre-Thunderdome, yeah, because they had 4 or 5 shows at the Performance Center. Then they figured out that wasn't really going to work, and then they got the Thunderdome, and the rest is history of the Thunderdome.
We all remember when Chris Benoit turned up on the Thunderdome.
Oh yes, we do.
Yeah.
Oh god.
That one guy, whoever you are, if you're listening to this for some bizarre reason, you're my hero.
Did you see that?
Yeah,
I saw something on Instagram tonight, by the way, that Our Lady Peace have started playing Chris Benoit's theme music live again.
Oh, that's not a good choice.
Well, but they put out a sort of release statement about it saying they don't want to. They want to reclaim the song, and they appreciate it has connotations.
How long before somebody brings like a Bowflex Resistance band to the concert?
Well, I mean, you say that, Cam, but imagine who's a modern pop band these days. I don't know a pop band anymore.
Who's the what's the band where the guy got put away for like all the sex crimes?
That would be Lost Prophets. I hope he burns in hell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to recover those songs is like yeah. You kind of.
Sad truth about that though is that there's 5 other members of Lost Prophets that did nothing but have their careers tanked.
Well, ironically, Cam, they've all lost profits.
And that's where the music comes in, right there.
Yep.
Always ends on the winner.
Can't top that.
Al's joke was so good, I'm going to end on the Two Ronnies theme.
Oh, hang on.
Two Ronnies seems an absolute belter, so this is like high praise.
If we're going to do that, can me and Ewan have got to do a setup for it or an after thing for it.
All right.
You've got to edit this in where I just go. It's a good night from me
and a good night from him.
Way.